win right. There's no better home field advantage in all of college baseball. But tonight, things are a little bit different. The #1 team in the country is in town with the #2 prospect in the draft. Tonight, Jack Leiter will throw under the lights.
They're still filling in. The LSU fans trying to turn down their grills and get in the ballpark.
Vanderbilt can pitch, but Vanderbilt is deep, diverse, and they can really hit.
Oh, it's high-octane stuff. Make no mistake about that.
You know you're going to see some of the best teams in the country. We got 2 more of them right now.
Jack Leiter's moment is here and now. From Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge, this is the SEC on ESPN. A late night start under the lights in Red Stick, and the best team in college baseball is in town looking for a series win. 21-3 Vanderbilt sends its ace to the hill, 1 of 2 they have against LSU, trying to find some traction. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart alongside a guy who's got a bunch of awards behind him, somebody who knows about pitching. That's my buddy Ben McDonald. And, Ben, we know we get to see one of the hottest pitchers in all of baseball tonight.
Been a pretty good year for Jack Leiter so far, 6-0 with a .25 ERA, but his last 2 starts have been off the chart. Tom, how about a no-hitter? Walked the first guy against South Carolina, retired the next 27, 16 punch-outs, all 16 with that high-octane fastball. And then just a week ago against Missouri, he'd follow that right back up. 7 innings pitched, a little bit different way. A few breaking balls, a few more change-ups, but that fastball was still working. 7 innings pitched and not allow a hit. So 16 innings pitched, not a hit, and 26 strikeouts.
Paul Mainieri's team is off to its worst start in conference play since 1969, but they've got some pop. 44 home runs, second best in the country. Ben, they can hit it out of the ballpark, and they put a guy on the hill tonight in Jaden Hill, who's also a top prospect and might be one of the first pitchers taken off the board.
No doubt about it. Jaden Hill, biggest start of his career. LSU is reeling right now, and that's when you need your real ace to step up and be really good. Jaden Hill's not been very good. 3 of his last 4 starts, Tom, 6 earned runs or more. You see the numbers a little bit high on the ERA, but make no mistake about it, he needs to be a stopper tonight. He's quite capable of doing so.
Let's take a look at the batting over for Vandy. They lead the SEC in just about every category. They welcome Dominic Keegan back to the batting order in the South Carolina series. He has been magnificent. He was 2 for 6 last night and drove in 4 in a 13-1 Vanderbilt win when they knocked around a season-high 17 hits. Sometimes, Ben, the sensational pitching overshadows Vanderbilt's offense.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's got a really good offense. #1 offense in the SEC, 318 team batting average for Vanderbilt. They're averaging 8.5 runs per game. That also #1 in the
Strike
SEC.
to Enrique Bradfield. First pitch strike to Enrique Bradfield, who's hitting leads off. That's the guy you want in the top of the order. And he slices one to the left side and punches it through. So a leadoff hit for Enrique Bradfield, and that will bring switch-hitting shortstop Carter Young to the plate. Vanderbilt last night, I mentioned, a 13-1 win. Then they just kept the line moving. They got the leadoff man on more often than not, and now they have a leadoff guy on who leads the league in stolen bases.
Yeah, they pressure you up, and boy, he's second in the entire country is Enrique Bradfield Jr. in stolen bases too. Only the Louisville Levi Usher has 1 more stolen base, and that's what Vanderbilt does through you. 1 through 9 in this lineup. They can all run, they can all hit, and it is constant pressure if you're on the bump.
Carter Young, the shortstop, swings at the first and sends this one towards the gap. Diving grab by Dylan Cruz. He's a top prospect, and he shows why. He does it with the bat and here with the glove. Give him a cake.
Are you kidding me? Dylan Cruz has done it all for LSU. You're just a true freshman. Watch this. Gets an outstanding jump and lays out in the right center field gap. Save what would have been a double. Should have been a second and third situation. But Dylan Cruz comes up with an outstanding play.
So Bradfield has to retreat to first. 1 down for Dominic Keegan. It's an LSU program looking for momentum wherever they can find it. They're off to just a 1-6 start in SEC play. They're a bit snake bit, you could say, last week at Tennessee. They got swept, but game 1 was a 2-run game and then a pair of 1-run losses to close it out. Here's Dominic Keegan now. Doesn't get any easier for Jaden Hill. Keegan is leading the SEC in hitting.
Well, you can see what Vanderbilt's doing already. They are attacking the fastball. So need to make some adjustments, does Jaden Hill. Go to that changeup, go to that breaking ball a little bit to get them off the fastball, and then maybe finish with the fastball and get ahead with the off-speed stuff.
Keegan got off to a red-hot start this season. They sent another one over. He's still hot. Junior from Methuen, Mass, out of Central Catholic. Homered in the Missouri series. He didn't play against Oklahoma State and missed a couple of games in the South Carolina series due to COVID protocol. They had him isolated in a separate dorm. He put a net up and decided to get some hitting done in that dorm room by himself. How'd you like to be his neighbor?
You weren't getting much sleep, I can promise you that.
Keegan originally committed to Virginia Tech after head coach Pat Mason was fired. He decommitted, and he ended up with the #1 program in the country. Nice pitch. 1-1.
Well, there's the first changeup of the night, and boy, when you talk about changeups, Jaden Hill's got one of the best in the business. Doesn't always control it, but when he throws it for a strike, it is really good.
Hill, a junior from Ashdown, Arkansas. Was a two-sport star at Ashdown High School. Was a fantastic quarterback who got Division I offers from places like Missouri, Illinois, and Central Florida. Was a point guard on his basketball team. Played in the Under Armour All-America game at Wrigley. Hit 95 that summer. And you saw coming into the season the #4 prospect in this July's draft. Pitch out and Bradfield not going. As a starting pitcher, can you worry too much about a base runner in the first inning?
Oh, definitely. I think anytime you can, but especially in the first inning. First innings are always the toughest ones. I've always said this because it's true. I mean, what you have in that bullpen doesn't translate to the game mound. You cannot create the adrenaline flow you get in a ball game when a batter steps in the box versus what you're doing in the bullpen. So you're trying to feel your way and your stuff through the first inning. But I can tell you one thing, if he keeps doing that, that's landing that changeup in fastball counts. Any level you play, when you start to throw something other than a fastball and a fastball count, it is a game changer. Hill's been able to do it twice in this at-bat.
Keegan leading the SEC in OPS over 1,600. He's riding a 5-game hit streak, 12 for his last 25. Runner goes, thrown to second, almost got him. A strikeout of Keegan, but Bradfield picks up his 19th bag of the year.
Boy, it looks like Jaden Hill comes right back with another changeup. It's elevated, swings right through it. There's a throw by Meliza. Cranford can't come up with it. Looked like to me Enrique Bradfield Jr. was going to beat it out anyway. He can really go, Tom. He can flat out run.
Tied for first in the country. You mentioned Levi Usher of Louisville comes into the weekend with 19. But 2 down here in the first inning now, and the cleanup hitter C.J. Rodriguez steps in. Sophomore from Newport Beach, California, out of Mater Dei. Fastball just missed away. And he misses inside. Jeff Head, SEC veteran, College World Series experiences behind the plate.
Yeah, I like the fact he's using the inside. He's going to have to use the inside part. He's going to have to speed the bats up of Vanderbilt to be able to get to that all-speed pitch, the changeup and the breaking ball. Just missed with both of those fastballs, one out, one in.
Impressive numbers for Rodriguez. He started 12 games last year as a freshman, only struck out 3 times in 52 plate appearances. Bradfield the runner at second after a single and a stolen base. Wind was blowing in last night. It's been going right to left so far tonight, but it has died down since the sun has set. Paul Maneri was thinking with the weather conditions and a little cooler than normal down in your neck of the woods, Ben, that might be some low-scoring games this weekend in this series.
Yeah, and when the wind does blow in at the box, it typically is low-scoring.
4-pitch walk and a couple close ones in that one.
Yeah,
61 degree. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
I said walks have been a little bit of a problem for Jaden Hill, and that's kind of where he's at right now. Almost a hit per innings pitch, 10 walks coming in 28 innings pitched. Just hadn't worked ahead enough so far this year.
2 on and 2 out, 61 degrees right now at Alex Box Stadium. It'll cool down into the 40s before the night is done. Here's Parker Nolan. Swings at the first, sends it towards foul territory. Doughty is over there and into the bullpen and ran out of room. How about that hustle? That's a lot of ground to cover. Oh-1 to Parker Nolan from Jaden Hill. Nice block by Milazzo behind the plate.
Outstanding effort by Milazzo right there, who's in for his defense. The bat hadn't come around yet for Alex Milazzo, but I tell you what, as far as catching and throwing, not many better than him. And watch how quick he is. You see the legs get wide. He's expecting the all-speed pitch. He gets it, but it's way inside. And boy, quickly makes an adjustment to his right to keep that ball in front.
So both runners able to take off on that one and pick up an extra 90. Bradfield at third and Rodriguez now at second. Swinging and missing that changeup. That looks like the best pitch for him so far tonight.
No doubt. See the fastball up 93, 94. That changeup at 81. So you're talking about roughly a 13-mile-per-hour difference. And watch this late action. See it run down and away. And you talk about a 13-mile-per-hour difference between the two. Very hard to stay on that as a hitter.
Lefties have had more success than righties against Hill this season, hitting .295 against him. And Tim Corbin has loaded his lineup with lefties tonight, including the switch hitter Young. They'll have 5 in the batting order, including a rare start for Spencer Jones at DH.
Wonder if he's going right back to what's been his best pitch so far, and that's that changeup.
Fastball command looks just a hair off.
And that's really the story for Jaden Hill this year. Fastball command has been a little bit off really all year long. And it's not big misses, Tom. It's small misses like we've seen in this game. It's a ball or two off the outside corner, a ball or two off the inside corner. But it's been enough to get him behind and get him in these situations, and I fully expect he goes right back to the changeup here at 3-2.
2 in scoring position to pay off. Changeup waved at. Hill avoids trouble. Vandy strands a pair. When we return, it'll be Jack Leiter time for Vanderbilt. Hadn't allowed a hit in his last 2 starts.
Jack's got some stuff that, should be illegal in terms of what you're allowed to throw.
Swing and a miss on 97.
I'd say an older kid in a younger kid's body, and he's a poised professional.
It's just like it's the whole kitchen sink. Trying to face him, it makes you really have to focus in on what your approach is and what you're looking for, because he can give you 5 different pitches on an at-bat, and it's just like you have no idea what you can stop.
This is Jack Leiter, 6'1", 205-pound sophomore out of Summit, New Jersey, from Del Barton School. Consensus preseason All-America by 5 publications. 6 starts this season. He's won all 6. He hasn't allowed an extra base hit. He's allowed 1 earned run. He's got a whip of .56. The numbers are silly. Tell me about the stuff.
Well, the stuff is as silly as what the number says it is. Fastball up to 97. He'll challenge, and that is definitely his best pitch. Something a little special with it. I love mentality. It's a football mentality with just #1 stuff. And if you got to stay in the Vanderbilt theme about him, I'm always thinking about Carson Fulmer mentality. Like, I'm coming after you, but it's Walker Buehler stuff. And not Walker Buehler stuff when he was at Vanderbilt, although he was a first rounder. It's Walker Buehler stuff right now with the Dodgers. It's big time.
Here's a look at LSU's batting order. Second in the nation in home runs. Dylan Cruz has already made a play with his glove. He's riding a 5-game hit streak with a couple of home runs in that span. It'll be Trey Morgan to lead things off. He had a fantastic series last week against Tennessee. And a first pitch fastball at 94 up and in. Morgan hit .429 last week against the Vols. He's a .327 hitter, a freshman from New Orleans, future big leaguer. And the count goes to 1-1. Leiter wastes no time, Ben. He is on the rubber and ready to go.
It's quick, and it's coming right at you with your best stuff. I mean, that's what he does.
You saw the highlights from the South Carolina no-hitter. Primarily one pitch working for him that game was a fastball. He mixed it up last time out against Mizzou. 2-2.
Yeah, those numbers, I mean, look, 36 innings pitched. You mentioned it. 7 hits he's given up in 36 innings pitched. Doesn't even sound right. And not an extra base hit yet.
Swing and a miss. He dispatches Morgan. And there's one down. And Jack Leiter picking up right where he left off.
Yeah. Here it is, just a fastball that explodes right to the outside part. But what set that up was those 2 fastballs on the inside corner. Then he moves it 18 inches over on the outside part of the plate.
Here's a freshman, Will Safford, at the plate. First pitch in for a strike. The numbers aren't on Safford's side. He's a true freshman from across the street at University High. Lefties are just 2 for 47 against Jack Leiter this season. And his first curveball misses upstairs.
You're going to see a curveball. You'll see a slider, a changeup, 2 different breaking balls.
Oh, a fastball at his face. That is a fair ball down the line. A late pickup and throw, and it's off the glove of Dominic Keegan. Talk about an excuse me hit for Will Safford. He was just trying to get out of the way.
I mean, what just happened here? Fastball up and in, and I mean almost off of his fingers and his face. Ball is fair as he gets down the line. You'll see Safford go right down to his knees and realize the ball's in fair ground. He gets up and takes off. The third baseman, Jason Gonzalez, you see him pulled over in a shift position. By the time he gets there, not much on to throw. First baseman Dominique Keegan can't come up with it.
How about that? They're going to rule it a throwing error by Jason Gonzalez. E5. And a first pitch to Dylan Cruz misses just away, 1-0.
That's a tough E right there.
Agreed. Cruz has a bright future and a good resume already. That one blocked, runner not going anywhere. Dylan Cruz, a freshman out of Lake Mary High School in Longwood, Florida. He was rated the 13th best player in the country by Perfect Game in high school last season.
Yeah, he is the highest rated high school prospect to end up on a college campus. He's the kind of kid you normally don't get to see show up, and he's been really good as a true freshman. You see the numbers, 8 home runs, towards the top in the SEC in that department.
This is a big time matchup right here. Cruz, when asked about skipping the draft and ended up at college. He said, my ultimate dream was to go to LSU, be an icon, be a dude there.
Well, he kind of followed in the footsteps of Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman coming out his senior year at high school and said, you know what, if you don't take me in the first round, I'm going to LSU. Well, Dylan Cruz kind of got the same information from some of the scouts. Said, we may or may not take you in the first round. He said, well, you know what, I'm just going to pull myself out of the draft. He did a day before the draft. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and hit the Baton Rouge.
Leading the SEC in hits with 39 of them. Safford running, pitches low. It's ball 4. That's irrelevant at second. And LSU's got 2 aboard in the first inning against Jack Leiter on an error and a walk.
Well, you're not going to get many opportunities on a guy like Jack Leiter. And again, the first inning, he's not settled in yet. He's not quite sure what's working for him. And if you're going to get a guy like Jack Leiter, you better get him early. Gavin Dugas has been one of LSU's best hitters, most clutch hitters throughout the year. So big time at bat and a big time situation for LSU to take a chance to take the lead.
Dugas was hitless last night, 0 for 3 in the first game of this series, a Vanderbilt win. Last week against Tennessee, he homered twice. C.J. Rodriguez stepped in front of the plate to remind the infield the situation. Been a rarity that Leiter would be thrown from the stretch the last couple weeks. Only allowed 1 base runner in that South Carolina no-hitter. That was Braylon Wimmer, who walked to start the game, and then he retired 27 in a row. That one handcuffed Rodriguez. Both runners will advance.
I'm not sure if he got crossed up on this for the runner at second base, but definitely he catches that ball very strange. I mean, it's almost like he was expecting a different kind of breaking ball.
So Vandy looking out of sorts here defensively after the error and then a pass ball. 1-0 to Dugas. Miss low, 2-0. Back to his warm-ups, Ben. Jack Leiter on his final warm-up throw kind of slipped off the mound a little bit. He had a grin to C.J. Rodriguez. He came back and tried to clean some dirt right at the rubber, but something just kind of looks off at the mechanics here early on.
Yep, he's not comfortable yet. And LSU had a big opportunity to get him early. And how about that 2-0 count? 2-0 count, not giving in to Gavin Dugas, not throwing that fastball that's been so good for him. Instead, he throws a cut fastball that goes down and away for ball 3. And here's the question, do you turn Gavin Dugas loose 3-0? You know you're going to get a fastball. He's going to try to throw it right down the middle of the plate.
They do, and he swings right through 94. Let me ask you this from a mentality standpoint for Jack Leiter. Hadn't allowed a hit in the last 2 games. How was the prep for this game different mentally?
I don't think it was any different. I mean, when you're throwing the ball like he's throwing it this year, the confidence level has to be through the roof. Right? Everybody said, well, how would Jack Leiter do in his first SEC start? We know he's dominated non-conference. Well, he answered that pretty quickly with 16 punch-outs and a no-hitter. But this is something he hadn't experienced this year. Many of these situations right here. Bases loaded, only 1 out.
This is the final pitch of his warm-ups. He's caught his spikes.
That's right. You can see when he went to push off the rubber with his right foot, he slipped. And that last warm-up pitch, Tom, means so much. I mean, you're going at that last warm-up pitch at full speed, just like a batter standing in the box.
Cade Doty at the plate, and a first pitch breaking ball in for a strike, 0-1. Bases loaded, 1 down. Huge opportunity for LSU and the sophomore from Denham Springs, who's homered 8 times. That's tied for 3rd most in the SEC, 6th in slugging.
Situational hitting. When you don't need a base hit to score a run, you have to be good at it.
Fastball just off the plate, 1-1.
And this is where LSU has had some struggles this year. The offense is not a bad one. It's a top 5 offense in the SEC. But if you look at runners in scoring position, if you look at a runner at third base and less than 2 out, LSU's been well below league average in both of those categories.
Popped him up. Foul territory. Behind the plate, it's Rodriguez, and he's to the screen and out of room. Vanderbilt isn't a team. They're the #1 team in the country. They lead all these statistical categories. They're not the kind of team that you say, boy, Vandy needs a break here and there. But it feels like on the road tonight in this environment, the way this has started, they need a break. The 1-2 to Doty.
Well, you could see C.J. Rodriguez, the catcher for Vanderbilt. 1 ball, 2 strike count. He wanted an elevated fastball. He wanted just about let her high down the middle. Jack Leiter kind of got it right to the upper quadrant of the strike zone. That's only going to change the eye level. They may go right back up there again and then come back with the breaking ball. Or he may go right to the breaking ball after changing the eye level.
1-2. Yeah, right back there. Big strikeout, second of the inning.
That is big time stuff right there. Big time. That's win-win either way. If he doesn't swing at it, you come back with the breaking ball. But that's right where you want it. You see Rodriguez stands up and says, big fella, give it to me right here. Just about let her high and perfectly delivered with a little something on it.
Just the 3rd SEC start for Jack Leiter, taking on a Hall of Famer in the LSU dugout, Paul Mainieri. He's got a national championship to his name. Despite the slow start, Mainieri said, I'm not going to give in. We're going to stay positive. First pitch strike to Kate Beloso. Leiter's first SEC start was a home no-hitter against South Carolina on the road on a chilly night in Columbia. He trolled 7 no-hit innings. And now you could say the first true rowdy road crowd that he'll pitch in front of in conference play.
And you're going to see that a lot tonight when he throws that fastball, because he's got one of those high spin rate fastballs. We talk about it a lot. And the only thing that means that it just stays on plane just a little bit longer. So you're going to see a lot of swings underneath that fastball. You might see a lot of pop-ups. You're going to see some swings and misses. I was talking to Nolan Kane, one of the coaches for LSU. Dad said, how are you going to attack Jack Leiter? He said, well, we're trying to get our guys to get to the top of the baseball. We know the analytics are there, but we're trying to say almost try to hit a ground ball, and hopefully we're going to be squaring it up.
Nobody moving on the ball off of Rodriguez's glove again. The freshman Safford over at third after he reached on an error by Gonzalez, and then back-to-back walks to Cruz and Dugas.
Vanderbilt just kind of out of sorts right here in the first inning, right? Defense, play that could have been made that wasn't. Get a couple of walks. But still, Jack Leiter just 1 pitch away from getting out of a really big jam.
Beloso is 0 for 3 last night. He's got 2 home runs this year. And Leiter missed his spot that time with the fastball.
Yeah, this is to me the missing link for LSU's offense is Kate Beloso. You go back to his freshman year 2 years ago, double digits in home runs as a true freshman. Last year the average was pretty good. He hit .316, but only hit 1 home run. And it's been a little bit of a struggle for him this year. You see the average coming in at .212. He does have 2 home runs, but he's the most experienced hitter in this young lineup for LSU.
Long first inning for Leiter. 28th pitch. Curveball high.
I think you throw your best pitch right here. And Jack Leiter's best pitch. This is your action count, 2-2. Don't want to go 3-2 with the bases loaded. I'm looking for just a good hard 4-seam fastball. My best stuff against yours and challenge.
Lefty's 2 for 48 against Leiter this year. Challenged him, popped it up, foul territory, long run Gonzalez, and couldn't find it. Paul Maneri lamented missed opportunities in the Tennessee series sweep. So we were just one swing away, and one swing can be the difference in a win and a loss. And a huge opportunity here in the opening frame against Jack Leiter, #1 Vanderbilt. The 2-2 with the bases juice. Strike 3 called. Got him looking at 95. 3 strikeouts, but a pair of walks and an error. Jack Leiter has to fight through the first, and we remain scoreless through 1 in Baton Rouge. Well, the SEC well represented in the D1Baseball.com top 10. The top 3 all from the SEC. Couple of Texas schools. Longhorns lost on the road to A&M midweek, and then having their way with Kansas this weekend. And then the ACC comes alive. Georgia Tech and Louisville 6 and 7, with the Pac-12 getting in with UCLA at number 10. Jack Bolger at the plate for Vanderbilt after Jaden Hill worked his way around a couple of runners on in the first. Louis Maryland native. Big promise for Bolger. Bolger out of DeMatha, known as a basketball school, and for good reason. And that one tipped off of the catcher, Alex Milazzo. All right, Ben, help me through this. We've seen so many big league catchers go to just one knee, and it exposes the inner thigh and elsewhere.
Yes.
Instead of the crouch.
Yep, and that's why I don't like it. You can see where he's hit well below the equator, and that's what I don't understand about this stance. Supposedly it's a better stance. Catchers have a way of blocking baseballs and moving and framing, but I think you just expose so much, and we're seeing more and more of this.
Red Sox have gone to it. Jason Varitek is on the coaching staff now, and he was praising it in an article just last week. And obviously, college guys take their cues a lot from what they see in the big leagues. And you hit on it. Part of it is framing. Catchers have said, I don't have an issue throwing down, and it allows me to go get those low strikes better.
Yeah.
But this is obviously the downside. How do you protect yourself?
I don't see how you can in a situation like that. And I get it. You want to steal some pitches, and it can be the difference in a ball game sometimes, right? If you steal 6 or 7 pitches a night for your pitcher, and the ones that are called balls are all of a sudden strikes because you've got yourself in position, it's win-win. But that's the downside to it right there.
LSU's got a couple catchers that they use regularly, not just Milazzo, but Hayden Travinsky as well. And Milazzo, Paul was telling us this week, the better defensive catcher. He's a local kid out of Zachary High School, superior throwing catcher.
Yeah, he was high school teammates with Collier Cranford, the starting second baseman for LSU. Zachary High School, just about 20 minutes down the road from the box.
And Milazzo's been through some injuries now. He had a situation in high school, and he was just 14 years old as a freshman. He got hit in the face with a fastball. It shattered the maxilla bone, the palate. They had to implant an inch of bone fragment, knocked a couple teeth out. He tried to stay in the game and walk down the first base line. He didn't finish the walk, but they found his tooth sitting on home plate.
Well, he's the toughest kid you'll come across. I had the pleasure of coaching Alex for 6 years through the travel ball circuit, and there's not many tougher than him.
So back to Bolger with an 0-2 count. Milazzo going back to the crouch. 1-2. Tim Corbin has raved about Bolger's ability from a pitch identification standpoint. And he IDs that one and pops it up into shallow center. Shortstop Thompson calls for it. 1 down. And that'll bring Spencer Jones to the plate. So, Ben, in this setup, Jaden Hill can look at this start in a couple different ways, but you got to think it's a real opportunity for a guy who came into the season high on draft boards but hasn't performed to those expectations. A lot of eyeballs on this game tonight, and while most were watching Leiter, they can't help but see what Jaden Hill possesses.
Absolutely, and that's why it's the biggest start of his career. May not be a bigger start for him for those reasons, right? He's trying to pitch LSU back into that win column if he can. But for himself, too, on a personal note, there are so many GMs, scouts, cross-checkers checking these two guys out. Because, again, you're talking about Leiter, who I think has moved up the draft board to #1 overall. And Jaden Hill, who's trying to stay in that top 5 where he's predicted to go.
The 6'7" Spencer Jones looks at a pitch low. So it stands to reason that in this July's draft, which will reportedly be a 20-round draft, the top 3 pitchers that will come off the board are all in the ballpark tonight. Kumar Rocker threw last night for Vandy. Leiter and Hill each throwing tonight. Went right back down there, and Jones looks at a fastball in the dirt.
Yeah, it feels almost pitcher heavy at the college level in this year's draft. It's like it's been position player heavy the last few drafts. Don't forget about Ty Madden over at Texas, their ace, moving up the draft boards. Well, there he is again, landing that changeup in fastball counts. So we've seen it about 3 times tonight. He's gotten himself in plus counts, hitters counts, but he's not given in. He's been able to land that changeup.
2-2 to Jones. Golfs it into center field. Late jump, Safford, and it's going to drop in front of him. Safford new to the starting lineup. Got poked in there last night. He's making just his 5th start of the season.
Well, he's also new to the center field position, too.
Yeah. So here's what we're talking about. Kyler McDaniel's top collegiate draft prospects. You see 2, 3, and 4, the overall rank, all in the ballpark tonight.
How about Gunnar Hoagland over at Ole Miss? You feel like he's moving up too. I mean, Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter's got all the pub this year, but Hoagland leads the entire country in strikeouts.
Jones aboard with 1 out. Cooper Davis at the plate. He's wearing the face guard after fouling a pitch off of his face, the first pitch of the season for Vanderbilt. Senior from Mississauga, Ontario, was on the Canadian Junior National Under-18 team 3 separate times. That face mask necessarily because a foul ball that went off of his face broke his nose in the opener against Wright State. 1-1. Said the cage took a couple days of BP to get used to. I'm sure from a vision standpoint, a little uncomfortable early on. Worked just fine last night, went 2 for 3. Popped him up and out of play.
Well, I like the pitch sequence here that Jaden Hill's landed on. So fastball's in, speeding the bat up and throwing that changeup down and away. That is a deadly combination. And it's all about fastball command. If Jaden Hill can command his fastball, if he can throw it to the inside part, the outside part of the plate, elevate it when he needs to change the eye level, and then finish with that changeup, he'll have a good night tonight.
LSU's turned 18 double plays this season, 4th most in the league. Roller right side. Bungled by Morgan, and he can't win the race to the bag. That doesn't happen very often. Morgan's got a sterling defensive reputation.
Well, Cooper Davis got down the line right here. I think Trey Morgan thought he had some time. You see him boot it right there. Instead of shoveling it over to Jaden Hill, he thinks he can beat it out, and he did not, is what it appears. Right there, he could have given it up to Jaden Hill, who's getting over like he should be. There's a foot race,
and so they give an opportunity to Vanderbilt with Jason Gonzalez coming up. It's a 4th error of the season charged to Trey Morgan. Upstairs to Gonzalez, 1-0.
What a weapon Jason Gonzalez is, hitting a 9-hole for Vanderbilt. 3 for 3 last night, 2 RBIs, hitting .338 on the year. And we talk about production throughout. You talk about putting pressure throughout the lineup. That's what Vanderbilt does to you.
Senior from Covina, California, missed the season last year due to some academic issues. He has returned with a bang. A lot more confidence at the plate now. Comes from a baseball family. His dad was a late round pick of the Braves in 1988. Ended up with the Macon Braves in 91 with a 19-year-old teammate by the name of Chipper Jones. Played for Sumter in 89, where his manager was World Series champion Ned Yost. Pulmonary is coming out. What do we got? Did you see something with Jaden Hill?
He kind of hopped around. I thought it was frustration on the mound because he missed with that changeup. I thought he was frustrated, but I don't know if he's hurt something or not. I don't think he has.
Athletic trainer Corey Couture out to chat with him.
Watch when he delivers this ball. Just kind of spins around really quick. It's a changeup that goes down in, and you can see right there. Jaden Hill, you know, his freshman year 2 years ago to LSU, made 2 starts, and he was just outstanding. But then the elbow got a little bit sore on him, and he did not pitch again back in 2019. Came back last year in 2020 and worked out of the bullpen, and the idea was to ramp him up and get him back into that starting rotation, into that weekend rotation. And, of course, the season ended. He never made a start last year for LSU.
Some folks just kind of milling around down in the bullpen. It's a guy who was a quarterback in high school, got injured with a broken collarbone, 5th game of his senior year as a dual threat quarterback. Cardinals still use their 38th round selection on him, coming out of Ashdown High School in Arkansas.
Yeah, it is a lot of raw talent. That's what the scouts like about him, right? You like the frame, 6'4", 230 pounds, built right, just a horse on the mound. But again, he's lacking mound experience. You talk about a guy when the season began this year only had 23 collegiate innings under his belt. So in a lot of ways, he's trying to figure out who he is. He's trying to figure out his mechanics in a lot of ways. And well, you see him shaking that right arm just a little bit, and you got to wonder.
It also looks like he's playing with some grips, you know, seeing if there's tension. They hadn't given the ball up yet. And it's an arm with a lot of upside, as you mentioned, and big promise. Ben, it seems like there's a lot of pressure on athletic trainers and coaches in a situation like this. Obviously, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, but it dials up the pressure a little bit when you're looking at a first-round talent on the mound.
Yeah, this is not a good sign. It's not a good sign for LSU. It's not a good sign for Jaden Hill.
Injuries have been a part of his career, And one of the top prospects in the country has to leave early. Jaden Hill, after just 34 pitches, is out of the game. No score. Vanderbilt and LSU. One ace is already gone. We got an ace on the call. Ben, what do you see on this last pitch from Jaden Hill?
Well, I think he spun around originally because he missed with the changeup so badly. But if you'll watch after he spins around, watch his right hand right here. Right there. Watch him. See? And that tells me right there that's something to do with the forearm, something to do with the elbow right there, because he's working his hand, kind of making a fist and opening it back up. That means it's in the forearm elbow area. Because typically if you get a twinge in that shoulder, you want to rotate your whole arm to kind of get the shoulder going. But you can see the frustration on his face because he did have elbow issues his freshman year 2 years ago, and that's what sidelined him for the entire season after those 2 starts.
So Hill leaves after an inning and a third. Alex Brady, sophomore from Longview, Washington, will have all the time he needs to get loose. This is his 8th appearance. He has an ERA of 6.35 with 7 strikeouts against 4 walks on this season. This will be his first SEC appearance. There is certainly a big picture conversation and perspective to be had with Jaden Hill, but also with LSU. This is a program in desperate need of a win. They are 1-6 in the SEC. This is a very proud program. I don't need to tell you that. 6-time national champions. They haven't been off to this slow a start since 1969. Pitching coach Alan Dunn checking the bullpen names that he's got. They did not expect to be in this situation.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of rumbling in Baton Rouge right now. There's no doubt about that. A team that, ranked in the top 15 preseason, expected to have a pretty solid year, and it's been a disastrous start in a lot of ways. 1-6, and just got totally boat raced last night, in a big blowout win, 13-1. So there's some concern in Baton Rouge. There's no doubt there's some concern for what's going on.
Here's a way to summarize it. It's an entire season recap. Preseason number 12 in the country according to D1 Baseball, and LSU started conference play just 1-6. There's a couple more games you could look back on that would epitomize this season. Second in the country in home runs, but unranked for the first time since 2018. They won a couple games against UT San Antonio in mid-March. They won game 2 of that series 10-9 in 13 innings on a Saturday night where they traded home runs and then had to win another slugfest 13-12 in 11 innings on Sunday. And Ben, I'm sure you could point to a lot of other red flags that have popped up even in wins this season.
Yeah, I mean, look, they lost second game of the year to Air Force. Oral Roberts beat them in game 1 of the series, and it's been the bullpen early. They weren't able. You talked about those games, UTSA, while they won them, they gave up a late 9-3 lead. They were up 10-4 in one game and had to win it in extra innings as well.
Pick behind the runner and a little bit late to try and get Spencer Jones. Alex Brady, junior college lefty out of Lower Columbia College. He's from Longview, Washington, 5'9", 212. Same school where LSU's hitting coach Eddie Smith was head coach from 2014 to 17. Pitch out of the pen, and Juco led the team in saves and delivers the strike here, 3-1 to Gonzalez.
And it's an upper 80s fastball from the left side. He'll touch 90 occasionally. See the longest outing, the third of the inning. He went against UL Lafayette just a couple of weeks ago. A little breaking ball and a changeup as well.
Two on and one out for Vanderbilt. Runners go and no throw. 2 more stolen bases for Vandy, giving them 5 on the night. Pardon me, ball 4. So they'll take us back to the top of the order, and Enrique Bradfield Jr. Bradfield singled his first time up. Vanderbilt team that leads the SEC in batting average, doubles, triples, fourth in the country in home runs. Oh.
Yeah, not much Vanderbilt can't do from an offensive standpoint. And you mentioned all the numbers. They just jump at you. I mean, Vanderbilt led the nation in ERA last year. Their pitching staff did when the season would cut start. They're right there again this year, #1 in the entire country in team ERA. It is definitely the #1 team in the country, in my opinion.
Into right center, coming on strong and making a diving attempt with Safford. It got by him. 1 run is home. Here comes the second. And it's a 2-run shot for Enrique Bradfield.
Well, Vanderbilt doing what LSU couldn't do in the bottom of the first inning. LSU had bases loaded and 1 out, could not score a run. But the true freshman, Enrique Bradfield Jr., barrels this ball up. An outstanding effort by Safford. He can't come up with it. Lays out right there. And remember, Safford's a middle infielder trying to learn to play the outfield. There's Dylan Cruz to quickly get it in, but a big base hit and a 2-0 lead for Vanderbilt.
Shortstop, Carter Young.
So here's Carter Young. Tim Corbin loves his sophomore shortstop. He's from Sella, Washington. Right smack dab in the middle of the state. We got Corbs to do some comparisons with some of the shortstops he's had. He said, "Nah, I admit Dansby was more offensive at the same age, but we love what Carter Young does defensively." We saw the shortstop piece early. They've had some beauties at short over the years at Vanderbilt.
Well, Vanderbilt's a team, because of Coach Corbin, right? They never lack on talent. What, 16 first-rounders in Corbin's time there, 2 of which have been 1-1 overall. You mentioned Dansby Swanson, of course, David Price.
Could have another 1-1 this year. Brady's fired up.
I think he thought that pitch might have been a strike, but didn't get the call. Boy, if you're Alex Brady, you got to figure out a way right here. You need a big strikeout, but you got to get 2 strikes first.
Almost there. The switch hitting Young is 10 for 20 against lefties this year. Two. Big opportunity for Vanderbilt here in the second. The inning started with Jaden Hill on the mound for LSU. He left after some physical discomfort. Brady's walked 1 and allowed a 2-run double since entering. And he's got 2 strikes on Carter Young. Full count with 2 aboard. High and deep to left field, pushing Dugas back. It is gone. A 3-run shot for Carter Young. The bat has arrived.
Wow, you talk about turning one around. Predictable count, right? 3-2 count. Brady throws a fastball. It is not located very good at all. Middle of the plate, just about thigh high. And Carter Young knows exactly what to do with that. His 6th home run of the year, his 25th RBI of the year. And that's a big ball. He knew it right away.
Cleared the bleachers. And the #1 team in the country doing some damage early on, just like they did last night. LSU will go back to the bullpen, hoping some money will help. 5-0 Doors. Five runs and 4 hits already for #1 Vanderbilt. LSU scoreless. We're in the top of the 2nd inning. Tom Hart with Ben McDonald. LSU back to the bullpen for the 2nd time. This is Blake Money, freshman from Spring Hill, Tennessee. 6'7", 261, making his 10th appearance. What do you got on Blake Money?
Well, he's a big fellow. 261 pounds, all 6'7" of them. Good fastball. He's a part of this #2 ranked freshman class LSU has. Only Miami had a better freshman class than LSU, but it's a good fastball. You'll see it up to 95. Breaking ball and a changeup.
Blake Money, brother Cash Money, both played on a Little League World Series team. Keegan sends this one into shallow center. Crawford is there. And that's the first out of the 2nd inning. It's taken, pardon me, that's a 2nd out. It's taken 3 pitchers to get to this point regardless. And C.J. Rodriguez comes up now with the bases empty. 3-run home run from Carter Young, the big blast here early on. And Jack Leiter had to throw 30 pitches in the 1st inning. And now he's had to wait a long time before he's been able to think about getting back out there for the 2nd.
Yeah, that's the worst as a starting pitcher. You don't mind it, though. As long as your team's putting up crooked numbers for you, you don't mind sitting on that bench. But if you know Jack Leiter, he is ready to get out there.
Ball and a strike now to Rodriguez. Pretty good series against Missouri last week. Went 4 for 12. Drove in 5. Two-one pitch. Rocketed to left field into the corner and foul.
Well, Vanderbilt has been on time tonight for the fastballs. We saw Jaden Hill early in that 1st inning threw some fastballs, and they were on time for him. The changeup was his best pitch. You get a 3-run shot by Carter Young off of a fastball in a fastball count. So that's almost the approach for Vanderbilt right now. When they get in those fastball counts, they get the head out, and they don't miss them.
3 home runs in the season for Rodriguez. LSU went to the lefty Brady after the injury to Jaden Hill. With a lefty and a switch hitter at the top of the order. It didn't work. Dribbler, tough play. Thompson's got to hurry. And a stretch over at first from Trey Morgan. Vandy sent 8 to the plate. See if Jack Leiter's still warm. Hadn't allowed a hit in 2 games plus an inning. Well, Jack Leiter's been a little bit out of sync here early on. That was his final warm-up toss to start the game. Ran one up in on Safford, was ruled an error. And then finally, after the bases were loaded, he settled down. Struck out Kate Doty swinging and Kate Beloso looking. And we'll see after a lengthy 1st inning, 35 minutes between pitches, if Leiter can refine his groove. This first pitch of the 2nd will be his 31st pitch of the game.
Yeah, well, like a lot of the great ones can do, right? They can find another level. They can turn it up, and bases loaded, 1 out. He gets back-to-back punch-outs to get out of the 1st.
They get the shift on for Jordan Thompson. Shortstop hitting in the 7-hole for LSU. Freshman from Chula Vista, California. Out of Helix High School. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Leiter. The expected pitching duel has only one of the aces left. Jaden Hill left the game in the 2nd inning, along with the athletic trainer due to an apparent injury. Here's the 1-1. One-two pitch. Well, that got on C.J. Rodriguez quick. 94 upstairs.
Yeah, the fastball just explodes. And you don't need the analytics to tell you that. All you had to know was he had those 16 punch outs in that no-hitter against South Carolina. All 16 on that fastball.
4th strikeout of the game. Leiter dispatches Thompson.
Yeah, 4th strikeout of the game, 3 in a row, and this is that hard, tight, you call it a cutter or a hard slider. Starts it right there in the middle part of the plate and watch it just ooze off the outside corner. And I'm going to tell you, when you got to gear up to hit 94, 95, and he can spin it like that in the location of it, even better right on the outside corner.
This is Collier Cranford. Didn't go through on that attempt. He was 0 for 3 last night, making just his 7th start of the season. Another Zachary High School product. It's been 18 innings since Jack Leiter allowed a hit. 9 versus South Carolina. 7 versus Missouri. And now into his 2nd tonight. 2-1. Cranford was injured early on in his senior season at Zachary High School a couple years ago. Eventually had Tommy John surgery. And then last year showed up on campus. He supplanted 3-year starter Hal Hughes at short. Hughes now at Rice, the 2-2.
Yeah, if you talk to LSU coaches, Collier Cranford probably the best middle infielder that they have. The feet are really good. The hands work. A good strong throwing arm. Came back from that Tommy John surgery. He's doing fine. Waiting for the bat to get going. But he got a late start on this year. He was healthy, but didn't get much playing time early. Made his first start against Mississippi State, which was LSU's first conference game of the year. He got plugged in at 2nd base. So still playing catch-up in a lot of ways.
Leiter's walked 2 already today against 4 strikeouts. Here's the payoff. Curveball looked at. That is 4 straight strikeouts. 2 swinging and 2 looking.
Yeah, that's not even fair. You talk about get your feelings hurt, right? You're up 5-0, nobody on, 3-2 count. You're expecting a fastball, and uh-oh, you get the old jelly legger. That ain't nobody hitting that one.
So here's Alex Milazzo, the catcher. Milazzo swings at the first. When last season was shut down, Leiter went home to New Jersey. He said it was a blessing in disguise. Got to work on my mechanics a little bit, add some pitches. Took some time off and focused other time in the weight room. Just off the plate, 1-1.
In the weight room, you talk about the lower half, and the lower half is the most important thing for a starting pitcher and for any pitcher, because that's where the explosion comes from. I mean, the push he gets and the way he gets down the mound is the best I've seen in college baseball. You talk about use your entire body.
Tim Corbin said Jack Leiter was a bit of a late bloomer. You're talking about using his entire body. He is 6'1", 205, and he's only recently got to that stature. Fastball, swing and a miss, 96 at time. He has struck out 5 in a row. Jack Leiter has found his groove. No hits through 2. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN from the box, Alec Box Stadium in Baton Rouge. A late start and what was billed as a pair of aces. Jaden Hill is headed out of this game. Jack Leiter has been as promised. We head to the third. Tom Hart with Ben McDonald, 6-time national champions play in this ballpark, and expectations always through the roof because of the history of the program. 18 College World Series appearances, 17 SEC championships. But the trend lately has gone the other way. The division, Ben, is absolutely stacked. And there is real talent throughout the SEC West. And over the last couple of seasons, no conference games last year, but over the last few, LSU has been a sub-500 team in the league.
Yeah, and you talk about the trend, and that's what's got a lot of folks in Baton Rouge upset, is the trend of where LSU baseball is going, And you go back to 2017, LSU went to the College World Series, but then in 2018 they win 39 games. In 2019 they win 40 games, and last year they were 12-5, right? And dead last in the SEC in batting average and runs scored, and there was no reason to think that last year was going to be an outstanding year. And of course, this year is shaping up not to be a good year to this point, and so you can make the case that it's been 4 off years in a row for LSU.
Well, an off year at LSU is different. The expectations since the mid-'80s have climbed through the roof. More often than not, they've been delivered upon.
Yeah, and there's no doubt this team's going to get going. The question is how covered up are they going to be once they do get going? That's the question. And there's a look at the legend himself, Skip Bertman, in the middle with the binoculars.
Might be looking at all those national championships up on the billboard. 5 are his. 1 and 2 now to Nolan. Worst start in the conference for LSU since 1969. That team fell to 1-8 before their second SEC win. Paul Maneri, after last night's 13-1 loss, said they were like sharks in the water. When they smelled blood, Vandy that is, they went for it. Unfortunately, we were the chum in the water. Pulled to the right side. That one will get into right field. And Parker Nolan has a knock. Sunday, a couple of series finales on ESPN and the app. Braves and Phillies off today after the Phillies win yesterday on opening day. They'll score off at 1 Eastern. Then in our Sunday night game, Mike Trout and the Angels host last year's AL MVP Jose Abreu. Shortstop Tim Anderson and the White Sox at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Tony La Russa is back in the dugout.
How about that? White Sox be much improved this year, no doubt about that.
Old school coach, old school manager, I should say, new school team. Runner at first and Jack Bolger at the plate. Popped up to short his first time up. And this Vanderbilt team is loaded.
Yeah, we were talking to Corbs a couple weekends ago about how he liked his team. And, I remember him kind of saying the same things back in 2019, right? He's like, well, we got a weak spot here and we got to improve here. I don't know how good we are. And the only thing they did in 2019 was win the East, win the overall championship, win the SEC tournament. And, oh, by the way, win the national title as well. And certainly the favorites to do it again this year.
2-1 pitch to Bulger. Chance for two. Thompson to Cranford. Sidearms to finish it off. And LSU looking for some momentum. Gets it on a double play from Thompson.
A really good pitch by Blake Money, right knee high on the outside corner and rolling over it. It's Bulger. A little two hopper. It's Jordan Thompson, the freshman, starts it.
So here's Spencer Jones. Vanderbilt without Isaiah Thomas tonight. He tweaked something in the game, came out early last night, and they're going to keep him off the field for a night. So they moved some guys around, put Bulger in left, moved Davis to right, and gave Spencer Jones a chance to DH. And he rings one up the middle. His second hit of the game. Did you pitch tall guys differently? I mean, you're one yourself. This guy's 6'7".
Yeah, you don't see many 6'7" position players, but I tell you what, that ball had a different sound when it came off the bat, didn't it? I mean, you could tell it was barreled up. No, I didn't pitch him really any differently. Felt like he had a little bit bigger strike zone. But normally guys that big and long, you want to kind of stay on the inside part of the plate with them, because if they get those hands extended like he did right there, it makes that kind of sound when it comes off the bat.
Probably got about a 6'9" wingspan, if not longer. Here's Cooper Davis. Reached on an error. He fouls the first one off. One home run on the season for Davis. Came in a non-conference game right before the South Carolina series. Tim Corbin absolutely loves this guy. But he hit that home run right around St. Patrick's Day. And Corb said, yeah, we're going to celebrate leprechauns. A knock on Davis at 5'10". He goes, he can celebrate that home run, but he needs to stick to his short game. Upstairs, 1-2. Big Blake Money set, runner not going. The pitch is just off the plate inside at 93.
Blake Money certainly projects as a weekend rotation guy for LSU. It's a deep freshman class. Some good arms down that bullpen too. Garrett Edwards, Will Helmers, Ty Floyd, Blake Money, another one, all freshmen.
I thought everybody was older this year. Only 5 rounds in the draft. Everyone's got an extra year. And there's some dudes sticking around that have played for a while. Ole Miss has a 24-year-old center fielder.
Yeah, this is not the year in college baseball to be young, right? I mean, it's just everybody got that year of eligibility back. You got some 5th-year seniors running around. Like Kevin O'Sullivan at Florida last night, he started 4 true freshmen. There's a few young teams out there, LSU being one of them.
Swing and a miss. Double play helps out. Money works his way around a couple of hits. Jack Leiter will face the top of the order when we return. Well, what makes Vanderbilt so good? How about having the best strikeout duo in college baseball, Kamar Rocker and Jack Leiter. Rocker struck out 8, didn't walk a batter last night. 6 innings of work, and Vandy's win in game number 1.
Yeah, Kumar Rocker's been setting the tone on Friday nights in the SEC for 3 years. The boy did it again last night. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, gave up 1 earned run, which is news. Didn't walk a batter, 8 punch-outs. Used all of his pitches, 2 different breaking balls. He's been working on a little bit of a hard cutter as well. And look, talk about the duo of strikeouts. How about the duo of ERA too? You combine both of these guys' ERAs and you can't even make 1 out of it?
Yeah, that's amazing. Leiter back to work. Second time through the order. First pitch fastball to Trey Morgan. 0-1.
And I'm watching the catcher for Vanderbilt. I'm watching Rodriguez, and he almost sets up a lot of times right in the middle of the plate. There he is again, just saying, right here, big fella. Just give it to me right here. It almost reminds me of Roger Clemens in his heyday, and Pena wouldn't even put a finger down. He would just sit in the middle of the plate and just say, right here, Roger. And Roger just throw fastballs just right by guys time and time again. Wouldn't even give him a signal.
Talented freshman Morgan at the plate, and he's been overmatched in this one. 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks. Hey, future's bright for a guy like Morgan, but Jack Leiter has now struck out 6 in a row.
Well, it's a whole different level, right? I mean, this is 3 pitches. He wanted this one up. It's not up. It's kind of run the outside part, but because it's got some high octane to it, and you 0-2, you don't know if you get that breaking ball or that fastball. He just throws it right by the youngster, Trey Morgan.
6 straight retired via the K. Will Safford looks at a first pitch strike.
Well, how many times have we seen this, right, with true aces? We always talk about if you're going to get them, you better get them in the first. LSU had a chance to get Leiter in the first, but he's really gotten locked in since then.
Safford getting his 4th consecutive start here in game number 2 of this series. Was a high school football player at University High as a safety. Upstairs.
Yeah. Upstairs on purpose, only to change the eye level. It allows him to come right back with that breaking ball that'll come out of that same window. Pretty good take right there by Safford. Lay off that one.
Paul Maneri compared him to Mikey Matuk playing in the outfield. Plays like his hair's on fire. And right through the outfield wall one time. Here's the 2-2.
Well, Giovanni DiGiacomo got hurt the 3rd game of the season. He was supposed to be LSU's everyday center fielder, the junior, and pulled a hamstring. Tried to come back and re-aggravated. And since then, it's been a kind of a revolving door as of late out in center field for LSU.
Second time Leiter's gone to a full count, and that's his 3rd walk.
All you youngsters at home, you want to generate velocity while you're waiting to throw really hard. Get your legs in shape. Look how Jack Leiter gets down the slope. I mean, 6'1", but he's getting down the slope like a guy that's 6'6" or 6'7". And obviously, the closer you get towards home plate, he may be throwing 95, but the closer you get towards home plate, 95 even plays up from there. That's big time push right there. That's typically the last thing to come for a high school or college guy to really a way to figure out to use the lower body. But Jack Leiter figured it out at a very young age.
Dylan Cruz, swing and a miss.
Here it is again. Take another look at it. Watch the balance and then watch the explosion off the back leg to get down there. A little bit of a firm front side. But you know, it never hurts, Tom, when your dad pitched 19 years in the big leagues and your Uncle Mark pitched 11 years in the big leagues. And, of course, your cousin Mark Jr. pitched 2 years in the big leagues. So Jack had a pretty good understanding. And you made a good point, and Corbs told us that Jack wasn't a hard thrower when we recruited. He was an 86 to kind of 88 guy, but we saw the projection. He had a nice, loose arm. And we felt like taking a chance on him that he would pick up some velocity. And, boy, has he ever in a big way.
That is already 8 strikeouts here in the 3rd for Leiter. The only thing breaking up a run of 7 straight was the full count walk to Safford.
Yeah, when you throw a 95 and you knock a little paint off the outside corner like he did there, it's no chance at this level.
It was really interesting when Corbs was walking us through the recruiting process as Gavin Dugas steps in with 2 out. He said there was some concern from the Leiter family that there wasn't enough roster space for Jack Leiter to come in and be successful. And Corbs said, listen, we get it. If it's not the right fit, it's nothing personal. He knew his dad, Al, years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of...
Can you imagine not having room on your roster for this guy?
Well, that's the whole point is they didn't know this is what they were going to get, right? This just exploded on the scene. And when Dad asks a question like that, it's a legitimate question, you know. And I'm telling you right now, it's bad though. Leiter's got the Tigers by the tail right now because he's got that thing dancing like a minnow in shallow water. Vandy up 5-0 at the end of 3.
Well, not sure what else we can say about Jack Leiter. Pretty good lineage, 19 years in the big leagues for his dad, Al, who's supposedly in the ballpark tonight. Al threw a first no-hitter for Marlins in '86, came in his 8th start, and lo and behold, Jack threw a no-hitter in his 8th start. Here's Jason Gonzalez, who fouls off the pitch, 0-2. Gonzalez drew a walk and scored in the second. That one off of the knuckles and will end up by its lonesome in the bullpen. We showed Jack's dad, Al. Ben, in your experience, what is the benefit of having a dad who pitched or just simply played in the big leagues?
Well, I think for one thing, he understands the struggles, right? He understands how hard the game of baseball is. So that's one big, having been there means a lot. And I love what Jack Leiter said, or Al Leiter said about his son Jack. He said, I know him, and when he doesn't want to talk about baseball, we don't talk about it, and I know my son good enough, so he doesn't force the issue, and that's what I love about him. He lets Jack come to him, and when Jack's ready to talk about it outing, it may be an hour after the game, he said, it may be 2 days after, he said, then we'll talk about it. But I don't ever bring up the conversation to him, and I love that about Al Leiter. He understands his son, he understands the game, and he just kind of lets it go at his own speed.
Tim Corbin can go deep a lot of different ways, as Enrique Bradfield stands in 2 for 2 so far in this one. And when it comes to parents, I don't know any other college coach, any sport, that does such a great job of drawing a line in the sand saying, I am your kid's coach now. If you want to talk about their grades or what's going on in their life or how they're doing on campus, you can call me anytime. If you want to talk baseball, it'll have to wait. 2-1 now. But he said that Al knows the line of separation and the ability to release the experience to their child for any parent. If they can, let them play. Just to share that experience can make for a healthy relationship. But if there's ownership of it, if a parent is trying to live through that child as a player, then it can get in the way.
Yes, and that's the worst thing, Tom, about travel ball, right? Parents have gotten out of control at travel ball games. Instead of being a parent, and Corbs, what did Corbs tell us? He said, if you come to a ball game, you can either be the umpire, the coach, or the parent, but you can't be all three. And the best thing parents can do is watch the game and understand the game and let their kids go about it at their own pace. Because at home, when you start undermining the coaches at home, it only is a cancer on the team to your kid. And I think that's the point Corbs was making to us, is that trust the coaches. Let the coaches do their thing. You be a parent. You be supportive in that regard.
Does Ben McDonald ever give the side eye to other parents at showcases or kids' games or high school games? What is the message that you send?
Look, I experienced parents. I had parents try to come tell me that never played baseball or softball in their life to come try to tell me who should be batting where and never showed up at one practice. But it happens. I mean, it's where we are now with this travel ball, and I understand travel ball. There is a place for it. I'm not saying there's not, but my experience with travel ball, it's gotten out of control in a lot of different ways.
Wait a second. Your jersey is retired. You got more trophies behind you than a high school football powerhouse. They think they know more than Ben McDonald?
Absolutely. And they'll tell you they do. Now, I used to have to go tell them, like Shaq told Barkley one time, you better go Google me.
Here's Carter Young at the plate. Carter Young is done. Is homered in this one. It was a 3-run shot in the second. You better go Google me. One and one.
I like what I'm seeing from Blake Money. Because you got to remember, LSU is expected to lose their entire weekend rotation this year. You know, Jaden Hill's supposed to go. Labus is supposed to go. Marceau is supposed to go. And so this freshman class, and Blake Money is going to be one of those guys that LSU is going to count on next year into that weekend rotation.
Nice running catch by the catcher Alex Milazzo in foul territory. More Jack Leiter with the 5-0 lead right after this. Jack Leiter can do a lot of things well, Ben. Tonight he's a strikeout machine.
Well, he's done that all year long. He's used that fastball. It's been exploding. The cut fastball has been really good. He's shown you that pitch, too. The regular breaking ball. He's elevated when he's needed to. Thrown it on the outside corner. LSU had their chance in that first inning, but he elevated. And once he navigated through that first inning, it has been all Jack Leiter since then. 9 punch-outs through 3 innings.
There's only been one ball put in play tonight. That was a fastball up and in on Will Safford that he was trying to bunt that was ruled an error. The 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 1 error. Kate Doty at the plate. Big swing and a miss. Jeremy Mills does such a fantastic job for us on research, and so he pulled some comparable strikeout numbers over the years with great pitchers. This one's fouled out of play, and guys on this list include first overall pick Casey Mize, Garrett Cole, David Price, Luke Hochhaver, Chris Benson, Andy Bennis, Floyd Bannister. Oh, Ben McDonald's on this list. Struck out 11.9 per 9 innings. Leiter came in averaging 14.8 Ks per 9. Second only to Steven Strasburg, who struck out 16.1 per 9 pitching in the Mountain West in 2009. Threw a no-hitter against Air Force that year. Third full count worked from Leiter as he faces Doty here. Well hit center field, drifting back Bradfield. Jack Leiter hasn't given up an extra base hit all season. There's one out, and Cade Beloso coming up. So all those names I ripped off, Ben, all of you guys that were college pitchers that went first in the draft, and that strikeout per 9 number, especially relative to our previous discussion where Jack Leiter was a bit of a late bloomer, it's pretty shocking.
I think everything he's doing this year is pretty shocking, but you're right. I mean, I know I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this at the college level. A guy that comes in, you know, and basically, I know it's his second year, but didn't have much experience last year, right? He only threw 15 innings last year. So in a lot of ways, it's really his first year. Come in and dominate like he has. And nothing against Steven Strasburg. He's a great one, right? But the competition that Jack Leiter is doing it against is a little bit better than what the competition Strasburg faced.
No doubt.
Now, Strasburg would tell you that the game's changed, and it has. You know, the strikeouts aren't frowned upon like they used to be many years ago, right? We see at the big league level, and what happens at the big league level seems to always trickle down to the college level. And so strikeouts aren't frowned upon as much anymore as it used to be. Guys used to choke up a little bit, used to try to put a ball in play. But you don't see that too much at the collegiate level anymore, and you don't see it at the big league level ever.
They've got the shift on for the lefty Beloso, and he's frozen by the breaking ball. That is strikeout number 10.
Now you see Cade Beloso shaking your head, but this pitch here will definitely make you shake your head. Starts about chest high, you give up on it. Watch the flinch. Instantly you see it up, you give up on it, and boy, that downward bite it has.
Hasn't allowed a hit in 20 and a third. 10 Ks and 3 walks tonight.
It's almost like he's just playing a different game. You know, it's a game that nobody else is familiar with right now.
Jordan Thompson struck out swinging in the second. Pitch count getting up there here in the fourth. Here's his 75th pitch. Juicy 1-1. the projection with Jack Leiter at the next level when you see him pitch tonight?
Well, it's definitely a starter, because I love the power. What's impressive about him, he can carry it. We saw it in that 9-inning no-hit game. He can carry that velo throughout. And again, that's because the legs are in such good shape, and the lower body and the core. And so there's no doubt he's a starter. He's got to clean some things up because guys at the big league level, there's guys out there that can spin it like Jack can. And of course, the velocity, they can match it too. And of course, when you're facing the best hitters in the world, it's a whole different ball game. But to where he is so young and so early in his career, I think the sky's the limit.
They've had some great ones at Vanderbilt. They've already had a pitcher go 1-1. That was David Price in 07. He was 11-1 with a 2.63. Swing and a miss. Leiter's at it again. He has struck out 11. Only one out. Didn't come via the strikeout. No hits through 4 innings for Jack Leiter on the road at LSU.
Welcome to the weekend, everybody. Time to play some baseball.
Doesn't get any better than this. Let's have some fun, everybody.
Wow, great baseball.
When it comes down to 9 innings, you leave it all on the field. You lose, you go home. You win, you go to Omaha.
It's shaping up to be another great college baseball season. LSU expects every season to end in Omaha. 6-time national champs, including under Paul Maneri in 2009. Everybody getting an early start to the weekend. Not everybody, but for the most part on this Easter weekend. And a big series tonight in Gainesville continues. Ole Miss evened it up with Florida, knocking off the preseason consensus #1 Gators 8-2. Dominic Keegan fouls a pitch off. Catcher by trade. He's been playing over at first base this season for Vanderbilt. And he carries a 5-game hit streak into this at bat. Upstairs.
Well, Keegan's one of those guys, you go back his freshman year, sophomore year, didn't play much, had a total of 55 at-bats, did not hit a home run in either his freshman or sophomore year, and in the same amount of at-bats this year. You see what he's doing. He's got 6 home runs. So you get guys on campus, you develop them, you bring them along slowly, like Coach Corbs does.
He's had to deal with some scary injuries in his time already at Vanderbilt. They played a scrimmage against Michigan in November of 20. Had discomfort in his right arm around his bicep. Then swollen and discoloring. Had to be rushed into surgery. Had a rib removed. Had a pinched vein that caused a blood clot, and then had to recover over Thanksgiving and Christmas after surgery at Mass General. Internal bleeding compressed one of his lungs. Wow. He's been through a lot off the field. Great player on it. And he sends it to right field into the corner. And Keegan flies out. Our NBA Sunday Showcase matchup is another battle for LA between the Lakers with Andre Drummond now starting at center and Kawhi, Paul George, and the Clippers. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown. 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. Here's C.J. Rodriguez, 0 for 1 with a ground out to short. Speaking of LA, I think Trevor Bauer's making his Dodgers debut tonight.
Yeah,
talking with Mark Kingston. Go ahead.
He may have a no-hitter going too. You'll have to check that out.
How about that? Well, that would make sense. We were talking with Mark Kingston, the South Carolina head coach, a few weeks ago. I said, have you ever seen a duo like Rocker and Leiter? And he said, yeah, Kershaw and Bauer.
Yeah. Well, don't forget about Garrett Cole and Bauer at UCLA. I think they went 1 and 3 in the draft, and you could very well see something like that happen because there's never been a college program have players go 1 and 2 overall. And certainly Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter have a chance to do that.
This one muscled into shallow center. It's going to drop for a base hit. Bob Warner and Hubie Brooks in 1978 out of Arizona State, both go in the top 3. Then Clemson had 2 in the top 4 in 96, both from the rotation. In 2004, Rice had 3 go in the first round. Umber and Neiman both top 4. You mentioned Cole and Bauer. Bauer never changed his hat all season long. A season that ended in Omaha. Tim Corbin in the third base box. Here's Parker Nolan. How about the opening day starters? 3 from 1 high school last night. Harvard Westlake and Los Angeles. Yeah, wow. Giolito, Flaherty. Why am I blanking on the third? Help me out.
I'm no good on trivia.
Yeah, Max Fried for Atlanta. Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was asking our research folks, when's the last time that happened with 3 college pitchers from the same team? It's only happened twice. That's how rare it was. 3 from the same high school. Can't believe I forgot about Fried. It's a hometown squad.
Yeah, and the great thing about Rocker and Leiter is this, right? I mean, it's not a one-horse show. And so they deflect attention off of each other, right? I mean, it's kind of spread out a little bit, because if Rocker was on a team by himself, projected number 1, he'd be getting a ton of attention and more to live up to, right? Leiter the same way, but the fact that they're in the same rotation on the same team is a good thing.
And when they make it to the big leagues, this is going to continue a trend. Vandy has 13 players on MLB opening day rosters. That's the most of any school. LSU second with 10, and then Cal State, Fullerton, and South Carolina each with 9. SEC with the most by far, almost twice as many as the next conference. SEC had 91 players on opening day rosters. The ACC had 47. Two and 2.
Yeah, and I love that little graphic in there about kids that go to college versus kids that sign out of high school, right? You count junior college, you count 4-year schools, 51% of the opening day rosters were kids that went to school. And that's what I always say, kids, go to school. Get some of your education. 25% on big league rosters came from high school, so it's twice as many went to college and up in the big leagues versus high school. How about Blake Money? Blake Easy Money right now. Really good changeup on the inside part. Picks up a strikeout. 3rd strikeout of the night for Blake Money. There's the graphic I'm talking about. 46% 4-year. Throw the junior colleges in there, you get 51%, where 25% came out of high school. And of course, the international market right at 25% as well.
Here's Jack Bolger. Bolger drives one deep to left field. At the wall, Safford runs out of space. It bounces off the bleacher. Second home run of the season for Bolger.
Well, I'm impressed with Vanderbilt. The ability to be on time with the fastball. We've seen it time and time again. This is a mistake pitch, but it's a fastball. But it's an approach when you go to the plate. If you're looking for a fastball and you get it in the quadrant you're looking for, get your swing off, and Bolger does it in a big way with that one.
So Vandy up 7-0, and Spencer Jones stands in 2 for 2 in this one. Tim Corbin was talking about his team going into the season. He said it's the oldest, most inexperienced year we've ever had. Regardless, they can take it out of the ballpark. Multiple home runs in 13 of 25 games this season. 4th in the country in home runs.
Yeah. Came in with 36, add 2 to that tonight. Not much they can't do. Pretty good at running bases, too. Stolen bases, third best in the SEC. Coming in with 30, probably going to be better than that, where they got 4 or 5 tonight already.
1-2. Money comes back with a strikeout. It's a 7-0 lead. Plenty of rope for Jack Leiter. He'll come out with 11 strikeouts in the 5th. Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge. This is the SEC on ESPN. Tom Hartman, Ben McDonald. Been an easy one for Vandy's fielders. There have only been 2 balls in play tonight. One was a fly out to center field from Kate Doty, and prior to that, an self-defense bunt from Safford that was ruled an error. Good night to be an ace. You got Leiter on one side, you got Bauer on the other. And Jack Leiter will head to the 5th. No hitter against South Carolina over 9 innings. Didn't allow a hit to Missouri over 7. LSU line drive, base hit. And Collier Cranford is on the board, and that's the first hit allowed by Jack Leiter in quite some time.
Yeah, I'd say so. And it's news when he gives up a hit. That's only the 8th hit of the season given up by Jack Leiter, none of which have been extra base hits. Collier Cranford with a really good move to the baseball, inside out swing, looking for that fastball and gets it.
Meanwhile, Trevor Bauer hasn't allowed a hit through 6 innings. Dodgers lead the Rockies 9-0 in the 7th. Goes to a breaking ball to Milazzo, 0-1. First hit allowed since March 13th in Stillwater. Here's Keegan. 1 down. I know we parse everything that a guy like Jack Leiter does, and for good reason, but okay, so I know this is a little overblown, but he allows a hit to Cranford. Walk me through the 2 pitches you saw against Milazzo, and what do you read into that approach?
Well, I mean, he saw that Cranford sitting right on the first pitch fastball, right? And so if that's going to be the approach, he decides to lead Milazzo off with a little cut fastball in the outside part, you know. And that's what is impressive with Jack Leiter. He can kind of adapt to what hitters and their approach is, you know. If he's got a couple different break balls. Now, really hadn't seen a changeup yet tonight, so it's been pretty much all fastballs for me, the hard slider, or you could call it a cutter, and a traditional breaking ball. But he's got plenty of arsenal, right? I mean, it's a lot of different things he can do. I mean, he knows he's not going to be in this game a whole lot longer. The pitch count is going up. It's a 7-0 lead.
Trey Morgan down in the count, 0-2. He was out there for a while in that South Carolina game. He said there wasn't any discussion as to whether or not he would come out of the game. It was just understood that he was on the roll. He threw 124 pitches that night.
Yeah, and I love what Coach Corbs did, right? Not too often, hardly ever do you get a chance to throw back-to-back no-hitters, right? But pitch count got up. He was on a day's short rest at Missouri last weekend, so Corbs, after 7 innings, hooks him, you know, takes him out. And I love that about Corbs, and that's kind of where we are in the college game now, you know. And that's why Corbs gets these kind of players, and others do too, is because you know as a parent when you send a kid and you got, you know, a guy that's got a real shot, and Leiter's got a real shot, and what I mean by that, he's going to play in the big leagues for a while. You want your son to be taken care of, right? And make sure that he's getting his work in and that he's getting better. You're developing both on and off the field. But you're also going to take care of that right arm, too.
"37 strikeouts now for Leiter over his last 3 starts. 124 pitches against the Gamecocks, 101 on the road at Missouri. 0-2. And that's a clean hit into left field. Couple of knocks for LSU, and it gets by Bulger in left. Kreinfurt is going to end up at third.
Boy, and if you're an LSU fan, this is what you want to see. And if you're head coach Paul Maneri, this is what you want to see. You don't want you, as difficult as it's been the last 2 weeks for LSU baseball, there's no quit in this bunch. And what a move that was by Trey Morgan, a breaking ball. And he just kind of sits back on it and rifles this thing out to left field. Ball gets right between the legs. Both runners move up an extra 90 feet. So runners at second and third now.
And that'll bring Will Safford to the plate. Maneri's team with an opportunity here. But every time you see an opportunity, there's a stat that would go Vandy's way. They lead the SEC with 22 double plays turned. They seem to find a way. Little roller on the right side. Nolan has it. A run will come home, and that'll be the first time in 25 innings Leiter is allowed a run.
Oh, Will Safford just recognizing the situation. Infield back. He'd like to get a base hit and get in the hole, maybe score two, but at least he gets it on the ground and pushes across the first run of the night for LSU.
And here's Dylan Cruz. LSU has been outscored 20-2 in the first two games of this series. Cruz walked in the first, struck out looking in the third. Ben mentioned it. He was the highest rated prospect out of high school to show up on a college campus this season. Up and in.
Yeah, just something special about Dylan Cruz. We throw that term five tool around a lot, but he has shown that early in his career at LSU. He can really run. You saw the catch he made in the first inning. He can throw several outfield assists already. He's got a cannon. You know he can hit for power. You know, we saw Bregman come through LSU. We saw DJ LeMahieu. All he's done at the big league levels, win 2 batting titles. First guy in the modern era to do it. And this kid right here may end up being as good as any of them.
Leiter better than him tonight. He struck him out twice, 12 strikeouts. But Leiter finally allows a hit for the first time since mid-March and a run. It's 7-1 Vanderbilt. Hey, all good things must come to an end. 5th inning. Collier Cranford at the plate for LSU, and he leads the inning off with a base hit. First time Jack Leiter had allowed a hit since March 13th. The run that eventually came across was unearned. The strikeout total still through the roof. Young and Bulger both homered for Vandy, and the #1 team in the country, led by that guy, Tim Corbin, with a 7-1 lead. On the other side for LSU, one of their aces, Jaden Hill, top prospect for the draft in July, left the game after an inning and a third due to an apparent injury. He is or has been back in the dugout as the game has progressed. This is Cooper Davis for Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, in Denver tonight, Trevor Bauer hasn't allowed a hit, and he has struck out 9 at the major league level. Oh, take it back. Rockies just got 2. My internet's a little bit slow. I've got enough stuff going to launch a rocket ship. And Bauer's allowed a couple of hits, apparently.
I have a feeling your setup is a little bit different than mine.
You think?
I haven't touched a button yet.
It's the way it's supposed to be.
I'm scared this thing is going to eject me out of this seat with all this stuff in here.
Money runs a fastball inside, full count. Leadoff walk. What a lineup we have for you Sunday. It's another NBA battle between LA's finest. Lakers Clippers at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC. And then on ESPN, we'll have the NCAA Women's National Championship game at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. And our Sunday night baseball matchup is a series finale between the White Sox and the Angels. Now that's a lineup. There in the second half, by the way, Arizona trying to advance and upset UConn. Wildcats leading by 10 with 6.5 to go over on ESPN right now. Thompson in the hole. The second for one. On to first. A hair late.
Well, how about that play by Jordan Thompson? Ranged way over in that 5-hole. The young man that began the year on the bench for LSU couldn't get in the lineup. Then he went to third base, ends up at shortstop across his body to Cranford, who quickly turns it, but not in time.
Here's Enrique Bradfield Jr. He is 2 for 3 in this game. Swings it to first. Cranford, tag, throw. Just a hair late. And so Bradfield will reach on a fielder's choice, and that brings Carter Young to the plate. Young absolutely demolished the pitch from Alex Brady back in the second for his 6th home run of the season.
Yeah, 3-2 count. Brady leaves a fastball right out over the heart of the plate, and he quickly turned it around. I mean, plumb out of the ballpark.
Dylan Cruz took a hit away from him in the first on a sinking line drive to right. Money misses low. Season high in innings pitched for Money now, and also a season high in pitch count. Previous was 50. You see he's at 67 now. He's given LSU some length out of the bullpen on a night the starter Hill went only 34 pitches.
Yeah, and he may be auditioning for a weekend job. You don't know what the injury of Jaden Hill and how bad it is, but I wonder if Blake Money might be that guy next weekend for LSU. Going on with Landon Marceau and A.J. Labus.
Ripped to right. It's inside the line and fair. Bradfield motors to third. He is being waved home. Lost in the corner by Cruz. Headed to third is Carter Young.
Well, how many times have we said it tonight? On time for the fastball again. He just rips this one down the right field line. He kind of got down there by that tarp. It's a line drive right over the head of the first baseman, Trey Morgan. You can see Dylan Cruz gets to it pretty quick, but right there kind of kicks it around, can't come up with it. You knew the run was going to score. The only question is Carter Young ends up at second or third, but he's into third base.
No credit Carter Young with an RBI triple. Got a home run and a triple and 4 ribbies. Pretty good night. And Vandy with a 8-1 lead. It's a third triple for Young. This is Dominic Keegan now. Keegan looking for his first hit. Committed to Virginia Tech, as I mentioned, coming out of high school in Massachusetts. And Hokies back in the top 25. They got a win over Boston College tonight. Yanked foul. UCLA's a top 10 team. They lost this afternoon to Washington by 1. Of course, limited season last year, no conference play. Season shut down a couple days before conference play was due to start in the SEC. Keegan pops it up. Here's Cruz. That's the third out of the inning, but he is showing off that arm. Hey, scouts are in the building, right? Might as well cut it loose.
Show it if you got it.
Vandy's got all of it. 8-1. More Leiter after this. Well, the SEC is supposed to be more of a test for young pitchers. Apparently not so for Jack Leiter. He has been better in conference play than non-conference. Only 2 hits allowed through 2 starts plus tonight. Still hasn't allowed an extra base hit all season. And oh, by the way, the strikeout totals are awfully impressive.
Yeah, 12 tonight. That puts him 1 past Gunnar Hoagland. So now Jack Leiter leads the entire country in strikeouts.
Here's Gavin Dugas, struck out last time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ben, do you see any common denominator in elite young pitchers?
Well, typically they can command the strike zone. That's the first thing you look at. You know, you see a lot of talent out there. And even at the big league level, you see a lot of talent, but not everybody can control the strike zone, right? And command 2 or 3 different pitches.
Into left. 1 down. Bauer, by the way, is out of the game after 6 1/3. He struck out 10 and allowed only 3 hits for the Dodgers in his LA debut.
You know, when you look at Leiter, the first thing you look at in any young dominant pitcher is you want to see the arm strength, right? You want to see him light up the radar gun. And then in today's age, right, you want to know a little bit about the analytics. Because we see some guys out there that, you know, do throw mid-90s, but it seems to get barreled up like that one.
And that one is deep to left and gone. First home run allowed by Jack Leiter this season off the bat of Cade Doty. It's Doty's 9th. Giving the hometown fans something to get excited about.
Boy, I tell you what, Leiter hasn't missed too many times tonight. This is one of those breaking balls that watch just sit right in the middle of the plate, and Cade Doty knows exactly what to do with that one. Almost a backup slider, just sat there and spun it. He quickly deposits this one out in straightaway left field for his 9th home run, 30th RBI of the season.
Gabe Beloso fouls one off, 0-1. Hadn't allowed an extra base hit through 6.5 starts until that. The pitch count nearing 100. It's about where he came out in the Missouri game. And we talked to Tim Corbin about it. He said, listen, there's 2 ways he approaches it. First of all, I don't like telling a pitcher. We won't tell a pitcher, hey, you have until X, and then we're going to take you out.
Right.
Against the shift, here's Young. And that just presents a needless ceiling for that pitcher, right? Mentally can offer some challenges.
Yeah, I mean, we asked Corbs, I mean, did Leiter give you any blowback at all about coming out of that ball game with a no-hitter going after he had thrown a no-hitter the week before? And he said no. And you get the feeling this is probably going to be his last inning, right at that Hunt pitch mark right now.
Jordan Thompson at the plate, couple of strikeouts and 2 at-bats tonight. And the other part of it is measuring an outing not just by number of pitches, but also the strain within a game. And you see, South Carolina didn't throw a whole lot of breaking balls, primarily worked off his fastball. Everything was nice and easy. The 120 against South Carolina was different than the 100 or so he threw against Missouri.
Yeah, and that's so true. And what a lot of people don't understand is that 100 pitches where I'm having to hump the whole game because I'm always in trouble versus 100 pitches where I've got my best stuff and I'm just cruising along, right? Those are 2 different games. The pitch count is the same, but the wear and tear is a lot different.
Weather was different in those two. Catcher Rodriguez thought it was strike 3. We had a right fielder think it was the third out and a catcher thinking it was the third strike.
He's circling the wagons out there. I was wondering what he was doing.
Here's the 104th pitch of the night from Jack Leiter. Curveball in the dirt. I was wondering if maybe a couple bulbs were out in the Alex box scoreboard and people losing count of things. Ben, you need to up your donation, I guess.
That's right.
"12 strikeouts in this game for Leiter. Into center. Bradfield is there. And if that is it for Jack Leiter, another great night at the ballpark. Just one mistake, Ben, the pitch to Doty.
Yeah, just a breaking ball. He left right in the middle of the plate, and K. Doty quickly turns this one around for his 9th long ball of the season. Doors all over the Tigers, up 8-2 as we head to the top of the 7th.
Well, looks like that'll do it for Jack Leiter. 105 pitches, 12 strikeouts, and 3 hits allowed. Pretty good. Pretty good run for Jack Leiter.
Pretty good day at the office, huh? Boy, his ERA took a beating tonight. He went all the way up to .43 with that with that one earned run he gave up. Boy, he was electric. I love the way he elevated his game in the first inning and got out of that. And there's a new pitcher for LSU, Will Helmers from Metairie, Louisiana, 6'4", been kind of a midweek starter for LSU. Come out of the bullpen occasion. Numbers are good. He is a strike thrower, 26 punch-outs, only 6 walks. Good up 17 hits, a very good ERA. And how about the win-loss? 5 wins, only 1 loss.
Yeah, pretty good. It's best on the LSU staff and 3rd in the SEC. Helmers played a little third to start the season, didn't he?
Yeah, believe it or not. Got a couple starts over at third base to begin the season. And they quickly figured out, while he's a really good athlete, his best position is on that bump. And he's been pretty solid.
Here's C.J. Rodriguez, 1 for 2 in this game. Helmers got the start against South Alabama. 2 innings, didn't allow a hit. They could try to close this one out for LSU, looks like. They'll put well, they got a modified shift done. Rodriguez playing him to pull. This second baseman Cranford not quite up the middle. Is it just me, or am I seeing even more college teams play the percentages and move their infielders around this year than ever before?
I think you're exactly right. We're seeing more and more shifts, and it's almost like every batter at the big league level, there's a shift one way or the other. It's hardly ever neutral anymore.
Cruz with the running catch. Sunday, a couple series finales on ESPN and the app. Braves and Phillies square up at 1 Eastern. Then in our Sunday night game, Mike Trout and the Angels host last year's AL MVP Jose Abreu. Tim Anderson and the White Sox at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. A lot of those trends trickling down from the big leagues, obviously, and the talent going up. Kyle Peterson and I will have the call Monday night on ESPN with the White Sox and the Mariners, and I was going over Tony La Russa's roster. Holy smokes, Ben, they got some college guys on that thing. And it's not uncommon, as the stats showed earlier, but just kind of cruising through it. They got 2 catchers from the University of Miami. Of course, their longtime starter, Yasmani Grandal, and Zach Collins is in the big leagues now. Nick Madrigal starting at second base, Oregon State guy. Andrew Vaughn, Golden Spikes Award winner at Cal, made the opening day roster as a DH and left fielder. And we'll see Carlos Rodon, former NC State lefty, on the mound. They also got Garrett Crochet from Tennessee pitching out of the bullpen.
Well, how about
I guess that's
Crochet
normal, isn't it?
Yeah. Crochet had that big arm at Tennessee. We weren't seeing a hundy, but he broke into the big leagues last year, and we saw it there, triple digits.
Filleted into left field. This one's going to reach the fence before Dugas gets to it, and Parker Nolan will stand up at second with a one-out double. And that'll bring Jack Bulger to the plate. There's a lot of Vandy boys playing at the next level. 91 from the SEC overall, and Vandy leads the way among all collegiate teams with their products at the next level. And what has been a tradition in Nashville has had to be put on hold. There's a lot of big leaguers that live in the Music City, and Vandy's got a pro locker room there in their building. David Price gave a bunch of money years ago to help with some of the improvements around there. And so it's not uncommon to see a steady rotation of big leaguers coming in throughout the offseason to get some work in at the Vanderbilt facility, but due to COVID, they had to shut that thing down, which is too bad. But it's a lot of talent coming through the doors.
Yeah, what a wonderful opportunity for the collegiate players just to rub elbows with players, big leaguers like that, because that's where all these college players want to be. They want to be in the big leagues. And you get a chance to rub elbows and maybe get a little bit of information, share information, anything to make you better.
Bulger launched a home run last time up. This dude can fill out a uniform. And home run just his second of the season. Ben, you're one of the lucky ones. You live there in Baton Rouge, get a chance to do the local games for LSU. So you still get time at the ballpark, whether it's this year or other years, when you meet young guys who have a design on being a professional, reaching the big leagues. What do they want to know about your experience? What are most of their questions about?
Well, I talk mainly to the pitchers, right? And some of it's a mental approach. It could be grips on what pitches we used to throw and what I used to think. Talk about a guy with a split finger fastball. We'll kind of share information on finger grips and where the fingers are, on a breaking ball. Because to me, Tom, the game has changed. It seems like a lot more tinkering going on. Guys, because of this analytical stuff that we have out there, guys are always changing what they're doing and trying to figure out if there's something better. We didn't tinker as much years ago as they're doing now. But with the Rapsodo machines and the spin rates, everybody's trying to get an advantage any way they can, especially if you're a pitcher. And I think those machines are very valuable.
Bounce through the middle. Here's Nolan around third. He's going to score. Throw to third for Bulger, and a step throw back to second. Would have had him. Third hit of the game for Spencer Jones. It drives in a run.
Vandy just keeps on a hitting. Vanderbilt last night's 13 runs on 17 hits. Did not hit a home run last night. 2 so far tonight. And to finish our conversation, the other thing is the mental approach to the game, about how to set up hitters and what hitters are looking for and things you want to recognize.
Cooper Davis is 0 for 2. How much of that can be learned versus experienced?
I think the most important one is experience, because I remember my time and being in the big leagues at 21 and coming straight from college, and I had a lot of guys wanting to help me, which was great, and it was valuable information, but the light bulb never flickered for me until I really got myself in those situations, and you start to figure out, yes, that's what a Rick Sutcliffe was talking about. That's what Cal Ripken Jr. was talking about. I remember that conversation now. But you can only learn so much by talking to a guy. I think for me, it was about getting myself in situations at the big league level and then failing and succeeding and say, okay, this is how you navigate through an inning when you don't have your best stuff. You remember certain things, and the more you start to work out of big-time jams, the more confidence you get in an understanding of what you're doing at the big league level. Because a lot of, in some ways, Tom, the college coaches call all the pitches for the most part, right? And so I was a guy that never really, yes, fastball away, I can do that. Yeah, I got a curveball, I can throw a forkball, but I never thought about why I was throwing those pitches. And all of a sudden, you're thrust into pro ball, whether it's at the big league level or even at the minor league level, and now you got to call your own game. And when you've never done that before, and so that's what I encourage a lot of the kids to do now is to try to think along with the pitching coach. Understand in your mind, okay, this is the pitch that I want to throw. He may want to throw something else, but I can shake to the pitch I want to throw. So start thinking about your growth and learning, because I know there was a lot of times at the big league level at 21 and even in my early years that, boy, it was rough. It was rough trying to figure it out. But, after you get about 200 innings in the big leagues, then the light bulb starts to flicker a little bit. And you start to have more of an approach and a game plan, every time a batter steps in a box.
Well, you had some help when you got to the big leagues with the Orioles. Now, you didn't have help behind the plate because you had a rookie catcher, but you had a Hall of Famer standing behind you at short.
Yes. And look, he was as big in the maturing of my process as K. Doty makes that catch as anybody, because I remember about the year and a half into my big league career, Junior stepped in, and me and Chris Hoyles, who was my young catcher at the time, and he walked in the door, and it was just us sitting there, and he goes, "You guys don't have a clue about what you're doing." I said, no, we really don't, Mr. Ripken. He said, well, I tell you what, I'm going to start calling every pitch if it's okay with you. And that's what he started to do. Is Paul Maneri's going to make a pitching change, and Cal called every pitch I threw for about the next year. And then we would sit down after the game, and at that point, the teaching and the process, went further, and it really helped my maturing process. And it was really weird me looking into home plate and getting that sign from the catcher, but I could see the catcher looking out at shortstop, and he's getting a signal of what pitch to throw and what location from Cal Ripken Jr. And so it really helped me out. It was strange, but I always appreciate the help.
So not everybody has a Hall of Famer at short, Ben. I mean, I know you're taking serious notes here, so you're looking down on camera, kind of like your catcher was looking out at short to try and get the sign.
He was looking right over my shoulder. Yeah, and it helped. It was really strange. And Cal said the only way I'm going to do this is if this three guys in this triangle, me, Chris Hoyles, and you, we're the only guys that know about it. I don't want the pitching coach to know about it. I don't want the manager to know about it. And so it was a way for me to, okay, understand. And then we would talk after the game. He said, this is why I wanted to throw Paul Miles for this pitch in this situation. You're going to pitch Paul differently with nobody on and 2 out than you're going to pitch him with runners on second and third and 2 out. And that never really rang a bell with me. I was understanding that I'm going to go to a hitter's weakness every time. And then he taught me, he's like, listen, you don't always go to a big league. You can't pitch them the same way in every situation. Boy, the light bulb started to flicker a little bit more. And I said, okay, so I may feed a hitter to his strength with nobody on and 2 out. I'll feed you a good fastball down and away if you're a fastball hitter. Best thing you're going to do is hit a single or maybe a double in the gap. But now when I got to get you out, I know your weakness is that breaking ball, and I can come with runners on second and third and 2 out in a 1-run ball game, and I can get you out with that breaking ball. So it was little things like that that really helped speed up my maturing process.
Of all the pitches that Cal Ripken Jr. called for you while he was standing at short, your rookie year, or the first couple years, did he ever have you hit anybody?
Not on purpose, no. I mean, no. Look, there was a time, and look, and Rick, this is another story. Rick Sutcliffe came to me when he came over from the Orioles. He was a veteran guy, and he said, Ben, do you want to win games in the big leagues, or do you want to be a nice guy? And I said, I want to win games. He said, well, this is what you're going to start doing. I want you to start moving somebody's feet. I'm not telling you to hit somebody, but you got to put some fear in some hitters, because big league hitters will take advantage of you, right? If they don't know you're going to use the inside part of the plate, they will lean out over the plate. And so it was my job every game for a full year to make a hitter at some point in time move his feet to kind of set an example for the rest of the team.
It's one of my favorite stories in baseball. You and Chris Hoyle sitting in the hot tub having a Coors Light after a game, and Calc walk in and going, "You guys have no idea what you're doing."
And he was right.
Jason Gonzalez looks at the pitch upstairs. Trent Vittmeyer is the new pitcher in the game for LSU.
But it's just like these freshmen out here, right? These freshmen, and both teams have them. I mean, when you're learning at the highest level of amateur baseball, which is the SEC, it's very difficult sometimes. But I think the experience more than anything, it's great to talk about it and have an understanding, but the experience is what really, really speeds it up.
Three balls and a strike now. Vittmeyer's been around the LSU program for a few years now.
Yeah, from Pennsylvania. How about what he does in the offseason, Tom? He's a volunteer firefighter when he goes back to PA in the offseason.
How about that? Full count to Gonzalez. Into right, racing back as Cruz turns all the way around, and he dropped it. He didn't know it's right in front of him. It was in his glove, and he wasn't aware. 2 runs have scored, and Gonzalez ends up at third. Ben, I think Dylan Cruz caught it, but he didn't know it.
It did look like it hit in his glove, and he didn't know it was in his glove. And when he opened it up, the ball fell out. He couldn't find it. And Gonzalez goes all the way around to third base. 2 more runs come in.
I take it back. It would have been a trap. He just knocked it down. You can see on the replay, short hops his glove after he lost his footing.
That may actually be Brody Drost out. Looks like Dylan Cruz may be out of the game. That looks like Drost out there.
Yep. Good eyes. Apologies to Dylan Cruz, accusing him of taking a suboptimal route. Vandy adds a couple more. It's 11-2. Well, pretty good night for Jack Leiter, the Vandy ace.
Yeah, he really had it going, Tommy. Fastballs down, showed you a cutter on the outside part of the plate, an overhand breaking ball as well, but it was that big fastball. He could elevate it when he wanted to, get on the outside part of the plate, but it was the 5th inning. Collier Cranford would get the first base hit for LSU. First hit, Jack Leiter gave up in over 20 innings pitched, and Cade Doty would get the first extra base hit of the year off of Jack Leiter. It was a home run, Doty's 9th home run. And you can see Jack Leiter getting a little love from Kumar Rocker. That's pretty good. 13-0 ERA combined, just a little bit above 1. Oh, and they can rack up the strikeouts too.
So they're going to keep it around the turnpike as Leiter ices up that right arm. He leaves for the night, and they go to another New Jersey native, Nick Maldonado, to replace him. Maldonado from Short Hills, New Jersey, 2-time state champion, winning pitcher both. Dad Frank played baseball at Manhattan College, had his sister played softball at Notre Dame, and another brother, Frank, who played at Pitt. First pitch swinging into center. Bradfield has it. Oh, or not.
Well, we're seeing some strange things tonight.
Red stick after dark.
He's just kind of camped right under it, a little crow hop that way, and right underneath it, and the ball just hits the side. It's like it hit the pinky finger of the glove and kicked out.
Bradfield's first error. Here's the catcher, Milazzo. A lot of impressive numbers for Vandy all season. The bullpen, especially in conference play, hasn't been asked to do much. They gave up Leiter's no-hitter game 2 at Missouri and a couple of runs late in that one. But they put up some awfully impressive numbers over the course of the year as a whole.
Yeah, this isn't just a two-horse stable here Vanderbilt has. There's some nice arms down in that bullpen.
Opponent's only hitting $150 against Maldonado.
They hadn't got much work in on the weekends. They'll have to get their work in the middle of the week. Rocker and Leiter have been pretty good. We'll see Schultz tomorrow night. Tomorrow, rather, in game 3 of this series.
One down. Back to the top of the order, and Trey Morgan. Morgan is 1 for 3 in this one. I mentioned this earlier, Ben, but Morgan comes in with a heck of a defensive reputation. And you just don't usually hear that about first basemen in the college game.
Yeah, I mean, LSU recruited Morgan, but he missed his senior year. They didn't get to see him perform his senior year in high school because he had Tommy John surgery. So he set out. But when he got to campus in the fall, Paul Maneri said, look, we knew he was a solid player, but we had no idea defensively he was as good as what he has shown this year.
Another chance for Bradfield. That one's good.
Matter of fact, Paul Maneri was quoted as saying, look, if he would have been right-handed, as good as his arm is and his footwork is, we could almost stick him at shortstop. That's how athletic he is. So that's when kind of Cade Beloso was told, listen, if you're going to play this year, which has been the LSU everyday first baseman for the last couple of years, it's probably going to be the outfield. And Cade Beloso, lost 25 pounds, got in great shape, and he was played a little bit in the outfield, but for the most part, it's been a DH for LSU this year.
Here's the freshman Safford, and to the right side, flagged down by Nolan. Threw it away. He threw it wide. Cranfield goes to third, and that will allow Safford to fill in behind him. Well, Safford has reached via error twice tonight and also on a walk.
Well, Safford can really get down the line. That puts pressure on Parker Nolan, the second baseman. He knows Safford can run. He kind of gets swung around right there and just throws it up the line a little bit.
So here's Dross, came in for Cruz an inning ago. What he got on a pickoff play at second with a runner at third?
Well, he might catch him sleeping a little bit, and Safford very aggressive. He gets a big lead at second base. Don't see it too much, picking behind the runner, but occasionally it will work.
Got a true freshman there. Josh, freshman from Lake Charles, Louisiana, to Barb High School. They've sent some players to LSU in the past. That one a little bit better for Nolan. 7 innings in the books. This one all Vandy, 11-2 as we head to the 8th.
College World Series with a winner-take-all game 3. This one is hammered to left by DeMarco, and it is gone.
Let's see how this offense reacts to this man on the mound.
Another strikeout. Last chance for the Wolverines. Anchored down. Vanderbilt on top of the college baseball world again.
Well, that's the most recent national champion, and they have a chance to go back-to-back this year, certainly with the best team in the country, #1 ranking, would join the likes of South Carolina, Oregon State. Whoa. Bittmeyer lost that one. and others over the years. Stanford, USC, and Texas.
How dominant of a year that was for that head coach, Tim Corbin. They won everything you could win. How about that? You throw one up against the backstop, nowhere near the strike zone. I mean, 10 feet from the strike zone. You just paint the inside corner with the next one.
Two balls and a strike. Carter Young, pretty good night. Home run and a triple. They originally saw him as a catcher when he was a youngster, but got a brief look at him at short. He played a little second in some of the youth national games in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
It almost seems like that's where the game's going now, right? Multiple guys that can play a lot of different positions, even at the big league level. You see it at the big league level all the time, too. Always a couple of guys on every team, every 26-man roster at the big league level that can fill in the outfield, that can come in and play the infield. The Rays, as you know, Tom, I mean, they're kind of at the forefront of all that. I mean, they got guys, you can swing different guys. They can match it up. They're facing a left-hander or a right-handed pitcher that day and plug some guys in at different positions, seems like almost every day.
Two balls and two strikes to Carter Young. Ben, I think you'll agree that the SEC is made up of a lot of different stakeholders. You got, no matter sports, right? And you're not just a former athlete, but also a fan. You've got athletes, coaches, administrators, and the fans. And Alabama basketball has been on a tremendous run lately. And every time you get a chance to go to Coleman Coliseum over the last couple of years, they had a super fan. Cameron Luke Ratliff, known to his friends, and I'd count myself among them as Fluffopotamus, and he was a ball of energy. And his rise kind of coincided with Nate Oates' run and what Alabama has been doing lately. He unfortunately passed away today due to COVID-19. And the Alabama family not only lost a super fan, but the SEC did as well. So thoughts and prayers to his family and those that were lucky enough to spend time around him over the last few years. Had a great visit with him at the SEC basketball tournament. Man, he was so excited to be there and so excited to follow that Alabama team this year.
I bet so.
Ball and a strike now to Dominic Keegan. Everybody's got one of those guys, right? I mean, every great program, well, no matter the sport, but throughout the SEC, there's somebody who's leading the way and showing their support, and one of those that everybody else kind of follows. Might be one guy going through the stands at LSU just hollering LSU. 3 balls and a strike to Keegan.
Or the K lady who's always hanging the K's up. Seems like she's been there forever.
Yeah. Kagan looking for his first hit tonight. And Morgan going to chase this one to the stands. That's a better route. Our next SEC storied film is titled Vandy Rolls. It premieres Monday, April 12th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central over on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. It's a story of the 2007 Vanderbilt women's bowling team that won the first national title in Commodore history, incredibly, in only its third year as a program. Tim Corbin's squad would follow up with a College World Series title shortly thereafter. Then add another. Rodriguez fouls the first pitch off. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
Well, if you're LSU, you got to hope A.J. Labus is on his game tomorrow. Maybe LSU can find a way to win the final game of this series.
Morgan has it. It'll be Dugas, Doty, and Beloso due up in the 8th for LSU. Well, this is a very proud LSU program. 6 national championships. They're in the toughest division in all of college baseball, the SEC West. There's a lot of talent in the division, and over the last couple of seasons, they've been supplanted by the likes of Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. LSU's record since 2018 in the conference, this is after appearing in the College World Series in 17, is now under 500, Ben. What is the biggest difference with the LSU program in the last couple of years prior to where they were in 17 and before?
That's a great question. It's I don't think they have the depth. And we talked about this earlier, in a year that, you hope you have a veteran lineup. You got a very young lineup for LSU this year, and obviously Jaden Hill has not performed well this year, and it looks like he may have injured himself tonight. That's been a little bit of a problem, but it's just a young group, right, in a year that you can't be young in the SEC, and that's the problem this year, and going back, in previous years, I just think that LSU's having trouble at times getting those big-time recruits into campus. The SEC is so tough now, and there's so many programs out there with new ballparks. You saw what Mississippi State did to their ballpark recently, and what Ole Miss has added on. Florida's got a brand-new ballpark, and on it goes, and it's getting tougher and tougher to get those recruits in. There's so many places to go because there's so many programs that are so good. I mean, you talked about Arkansas. They've been to, 5 of the last 11 College World Series. Vandy's been to 3 of the last 6, won 2. Florida's been to 7 of the last 10 and won 1. Mississippi State's been in the last 2 and 3 of 8. And so, programs are getting better and better.
It has been and will continue to be an incredible home field advantage at the box. But there are other facilities that have caught up or surpassed it. Now, I think it's really hard to surpass what this fan base brings from energy, enthusiasm, and, of course, expectations. But Arkansas has added onto their stadium. Florida has built a brand-new ballpark, and on and on. And Kentucky, brand-new ballpark. Mississippi State, brand-new ballpark. Is that a sign of the times that those other teams in the league, and that's just a small example, have caught up to LSU from a facility standpoint? Or do you think recruits care that much about buildings and pitching labs and such.
I know they do. You know, and that's where kids are these days, right? I don't think they care so much about what you've done in the past. It's, you know, a lot of ways is how big's the locker room and how many, you know, color TV screens do you have in the locker room, you know, and how's the pitching lab look and the batting cages, you know, and it's just a lot more places to go now, you know. Now, having said all that, it is not an excuse for LSU baseball, you know, and when you have, you know, like we talked about earlier, when you can almost say, well, it's been 4 off years in a row. If this year continues the way it's going, I don't think, you know, the folks around Baton Rouge are going to take that and say, well, everybody else has gotten better, so it's okay for us to be in a little bit of a downturn.
Yeah. Beloso to right. Here's Matt Hogan. Well, Vandy is the leader, and LSU playing catch-up in this one at 11-2 doors.
Like sourdough, the Sourdough King with flame bacon and between 2 toasted Sourdough King and your way better.
Our NBA Sunday Showcase matchup, another battle for LA between the Lakers with Andre Drummond now starting at center, and Kawhi Paul George, and the Clippers are covered tips with NBA Countdown at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. LSU going back to the bullpen with a senior left-hander.
Brandon Kaminer only pitched 3 1/3 so far, 9 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts.
Parker Nolan will lead off, and he looks at a first pitch strike. Sophomore from Knoxville after out of Farragut High School. Poked into left and deep. Dugas at the wall, and he makes a catch. It's been a trying season for LSU on the field. Paul Mainieri has had to deal with some health issues over the last couple of seasons, the last couple of off seasons. He had neck surgery, and you know who performed it? His former Notre Dame shortstop Greg Lopez. He said, I knew I was in good hands. He had a disectomy, and he said, you know, who else do I trust more? And we're kind of laughing about it. I said, well, you know, he's got good hands. That's a no-brainer. Dr. Greg Lopez put in a prosthetic vertebrae, and he said, you know, as coaches, we're supposed to prepare players for more than just baseball. I don't know if while he was at Notre Dame, he knew he was preparing Greg Lopez to fuse a C4, C5. Two down in the 9th.
Yeah, that's a tough call right there. Can you imagine? You don't remember any errors he made when you're making that decision, right? You just want to remember that he caught every ball and he made every play, and the hands were great. That's all I'd be thinking about. I'd be thinking about the 3-error game he made, you know, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Former assistant coach taps you on the shoulder and says, Paul, don't you remember that Tuesday night against Ball State?
Dropped 2 fly balls and missed the ground ball.
Rip to the right side and past Morgan. Second hit for Bulger, and will bring, fourth hit for Spencer Jones after the Bulger fly out.
Yeah, Spencer Jones hadn't been getting much PT this year, but Coach Corbin pushing all the right buttons, puts him in the ball game, hitting 182, and all he's done is going 4 for 5.
What he got on this picture, Ben? That looks like Judge and Altuve over there. David
Boy, you just don't
Macias,
realize.
former Vandy player.
Yeah, you don't realize how big Aaron Judge is until you stand next to him and talk to him. You know, when him and Stanton are standing next to each other, it's like you talk about fill the batter's box up. Like there's not another inch in the batter's box when those two guys get in.
The batter now playing left field, Cooper Davis.
Cooper Davis stays in the game after Hogan entered for him in right, and moving back over to left. Well, Spencer Jones with a 4-hit game might get him some more playing time. Interesting to see or hear from Tim Corbin after the game exactly how Isaiah Thomas is feeling and if he might have to miss more time. Vandy will win another weekend series, by the way, with this victory tonight. We go to the bottom of the ninth on a late Friday night. LSU needs 9 to tie, 10 for the win. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Tom Hart with Ben McDonald. It's an 11-2 Vanderbilt lead. There was some confusion the last half inning. We're talking about Paul Maneri's former shortstop, now a surgeon in Chicago. Paul had
I think I know what you're talking about because it sounded that way to me too. But it is getting late, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it is. Dissectomy it starts with a D. Dissectomy is surgery to remove herniated disc material that's pressing on a nerve root or the spinal cord. The funny part about me being misunderstood as I was describing that is I told Paul when we were on the Zoom call the other day, I said I can't refer to your injury because we're not allowed to say bulging disc on air for fear that we may mispronounce it, and that lo and behold, I'm a rum-dum and I lead people to think something else anyway. Don't be a rum-dum, Tom. My bad.
You sold me on it.
It is after midnight. Hey, a leadoff walk in the ninth.
That is a very unusual walk.
Puts Zach Arnold aboard.
Tigers, pitching number 5, Drew Bianco.
You get Drew Bianco a chance to pitch hit. His dad's got one of the best teams in the country at Ole Miss.
The Ole Miss bounced back after losing game 1 of that series. They won tonight behind the left-hander Doug Nikhazy, making his second start in his return back from a pectoral injury that he had. Well, that's really going to help out Ole Miss.
I don't think we're allowed to speak of injuries anymore without the New England Journal of Medicine here to help us out. Swing and a miss by Bianco. Now, Bianco came in and showed some pop when he first got there. He homered against his dad's team 2 years ago. And your old catcher, Mike, he couldn't look up from the dugout and watch.
Yeah, because when Drew came around, he was kind of staring at Dad as he came around third base in that third base dugout. Like, that's the no-fly zone right there, Pops. You remember that one. Don't throw it there.
I mean, it's one thing to have a stare down or a strut, but another thing to do it to your dad in the opposing dugout. Bianco goes down swinging. Mitchell Sanford give a chance to hit here. Paul Maneri emptying the bench. I'm down with Mitchell Sanford coming up to some LL Cool J. LL Cool J, big college baseball fan. Who else you got among the nation's elite? We know where Vandy stands.
Well, after the weekend Arkansas had, last weekend winning the Mississippi State. Now, I didn't see that one coming. I really thought State was going to take 2 or 3, but Arkansas goes in and sweeps in Starkville. We know how hard it is to win there. So I think they have to be in the conversation for sure. I wouldn't count Ole Miss out either just because you get Doug DeCasey back. Gunnar Hoagland's throwing like a real ace. We know what DeCasey can do because he's been since his freshman year, he's been a Friday night guy for Ole Miss. And don't forget about Derek Diamond, their number 3 starter on the weekends, up to 96 miles an hour. It's a good bullpen and enough offense too. So I wouldn't count Ole Miss out of anything either. But again, it's about who's going to be peaking at the right time. We see that every year, and there'll be some surprises. There'll be some teams that you think's going to be there. They'll get upset. And there'll be some teams that kind of just mediocre, like maybe a Florida, right? Just kind of mediocre, just kind of getting by from what we thought they would be. And then all of a sudden they really get it clicking. I think it's in the tank for Florida as well.
A lot of possibilities. UCLA top 10 team but lost to Washington. Texas looks really good out of the Big 12.
Yeah, I love Ty Madden, their ace. I mean, the little bit I've seen on him projected to be a pretty high pick. He is a true ace as well.
Here's Hayden Travinski. 4 straight pinch hitters here in the 9th. LSU trying to find anything that can work. Travinski's from Shreveport out of Airline High School. My buddy Todd Walker played at Airline. So did golfer David Toms. I was curious that maybe you know about Shreveport, Ben. I know it's up north, but I didn't find any airlines anywhere around Airline High School. Just a road named Airline. It's nowhere near the airport. It's not like the airport's around the corner.
You might be able to put a crop duster down on a dirt road somewhere, but that's about it. Yeah, I remember David Toms actually grew up right here, and I played youth baseball, basketball, football with him up till about he was 12 years old right here in Denham Springs where I live. We'd always come back to baseball practice. He's a really good athlete. We'd come out to baseball practice, and as Travinski strikes out, he'd always say, well, we did this on the weekend. He'd come back and say, oh, well, I can hit a golf ball 150 yards. We go, who cares? Nobody plays golf, Years later, he ended up being pretty good at golf. But he was a heck of an athlete, man. Ended up moving to North Louisiana, and it's like golf. Who plays golf?
Yeah, $41.9 million later.
Yeah,
Here's
he reminded me of that.
Line out to center, and Bradfield's got that liner with the win. Goes to 7-0. Hill, unfortunately, left early, took the loss. Maldonado picks up his second save. And LSU's got to figure some stuff out. For as good as Vandy is, LSU's on the other side, man.
Yeah, LSU's got to pick it up. They have got to figure out very quickly they're going to be covered up. Jack Leiter was outstanding again tonight.
Vandy goes to 7-1 in conference. LSU drops to 1-7. For our producer Scott Gustafson, my fantastic partner Ben McDonald, all the folks back in Baton Rouge helping us out. I'm Tom Hart. Have a wonderful morning after Vanderbilt pace LSU 11-2.